Hello, hello. Welcome back to Venture Starters. Welcome back. A lot of very familiar faces and new faces. All right. And right out of the gate, 110 people in the first couple of seconds. Always love to see that kind of turnout. Fantastic. This is really an amazing community. Thanks to all of you. Let's let everybody in and then we'll get started here real quick with introductions. I want to thank you all for being participants in our community. If you would like to pitch, you're going to need to go and digitally raise your hand. And I'm going to apologize in advance that there may only be 20 to 25 people that we're going to get into the queue for tonight. I know the last two events we've had 50 people pitch at both of those events. It was back to back, boom, 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 pitches. It was a lot. So tonight, what I'd like to do is bring back the Q&A after the pitch. And that cuts down the number of people who are going to be able to pitch by 50% approximately. And as a result of that, I'm guessing we'll have, we'll have smaller numbers of everything, but it'll be a little bit more interesting because the questions and answers I think are very illuminating and helpful, especially to a lot of our new founders that have still an education process to go through. And we're a great community for, practicing and early pitches and getting to understand basically the startup ecosystem. So I'm hoping that the Q&A will be valuable to many of you. And those of you who are founders, hoping the Q&A will also be valuable to you for your specific company and project. All right, clock manager, we're back on to starting the clock. So the first person I want to introduce is Justin, who is going to talk to you about one of my favorite startups for a lot of reasons. One is I'm an investor in this company. Another is I think it's disruptive in very positive ways. And Justin hasn't been here to pitch this. I can't even remember if you've ever pitched here before, Justin, but welcome, Justin. You have to turn there you go. And the floor is yours.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. So Devorto is building an aircraft that never has to land. A solar-powered system that persists in the stratosphere will provide better capabilities than satellites, but for the cost and logistics of a drone. So think of Starlink, but get rid of the satellite dish, add a 5G capability, and that's what we're developing. Now, DARPA, tier one aerospace companies and technology giants have spent billions of dollars trying to achieve this capability because they recognize it's going to provide the backbone for the next wireless telecommunications industry. The problem is solar-powered aircraft are very hard to achieve, and nobody's been able to achieve it thus far. So my name is Dr. Justin Selfridge. I'm a former NASA engineer and spent 7 years with NASA, which culminated in a PhD dissertation that provided a brand new aerial architecture, which solves the engineering problem, which will keep a solar-powered airplane aloft in the stratosphere indefinitely. So I'm just going to keep it short and sweet and just cut it off right there.
Okay, well, I'm not going to allow it to be that short. So
Hi,
I would like to.
how are you?
Hold on, I just want to add a couple of things, and if anybody has any questions, we will. You can actually clock manager start the clock on the Q&A. But basically, we're building these to hover 12 miles above Earth, and they're going to be stationary. What Starlink is doing is they're putting 42,000 rotating in space satellites that literally are always in motion, and that's why they need to fill up our space with essentially it's a junkyard of metal. 42,000 is what Elon Musk wants to put up there. He's already put up around 4,000. Thankfully, he hasn't gotten too many up there just yet because our technology is going to disrupt what he's doing. We won't need nearly that many because ours are stationary above Earth, and we only need to bring them down for maintenance purposes. And the reason that I got involved in this is in California, we have wildfires. And my wife, Norm, in November said to me a long time ago, if we could have cameras on every inch of California and identify when a fire is starting, we can get people out there soon enough to put it out before it basically burns thousands of, square meters, miles, as we've been having lately. And so this technology is going to not just allow for us to mitigate wildfires, which is a huge problem around the world, but it's also going to allow us to, change telecommunications and bring telecommunications even to poorer regions of the planet at a cost that there's no way can be done when you have to actually put things up into space. I'm sorry, I'm using all the time. And Justin, I'm very passionate about our company. Does anybody else have any quick questions? Sorry to dominate that much time.
Hey, Justin, this is Jake Costas here. I'm a early stage investor. Are you raising funds right now?
Yes, absolutely. So far, we've raised $650K through R&D in our first angels, and now we're doing a $500K raise to bring an MVP to lead into our seed round.
Got it. I'm gonna shoot you over an email, and we can talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, Justin, put your information in the chat. And just real quickly, our first investors were NASA and the Air Force. And they both really love what we're doing. And you're going to hear a lot about this company. First time you've heard it here at Venture Starters. I'm so happy to be part of Justin's team. All right, up next is another favorite of mine, Debs Simpson. Debs has a fantastic company, and I'm out helping her build her team right now. I'll let Debs tell you all about it because she does it so eloquently, and then we'll have a quick Q&A. You're on mute, Debs. You're going to have to unmute real quick. And I don't think I can unmute you, so I think you're going to have to unmute yourself.
It just signed me off.
Oh, no, you're good. Here we go.
Anyhow, first of all, I'd like to thank you, Mark, for this opportunity and for helping our company grow so well. First of all, people don't probably realize we are in the middle of a healthcare crisis, and I actually did not realize how serious it is, but over 500,000 people in the US alone die of heart failure. Our technology can prevent 45% of these deaths non-invasively. You don't have to die from a cardiac event. You do not have to die. This technology was built by millions and millions of dollars were put into it from a government perspective. Johns Hopkins, Drexel, Carnegie Mellon. It is an amazing technology, and most doctors say it doesn't work until they see our research, which is over 100 research papers. Our early warning, 72 hours in advance before a cardiac event, before it happens, will have the doctor notified and tell him or her that there's a cardiac event that's imminent. It's going to happen. So the lives we save are off the charts. I can't tell you how passionate about this. I put significant amount, 7 figures into this company myself, but it's the early warning to save lives across the board. And we have the technology, we have the interest, and I do need some help with some investors, some angels at this point. We are closing the round fairly quickly, within the next, 2-3 weeks. And anyone like to participate in saving lives and helping solve this critical crisis, please contact me. That's it, Mark.
Debs, just real quick, tell everybody why this is already there's no risk to the technology. Why, where you're at with it.
I'm told 90 million was invested in building this technology, government money and some angels, and they spent 10 years with 10,000 patients juggling and changing. The technology is way over engineered. It identified every sick patient, and the competitors used healthy patients. And if you've done medical devices as long as I have, the noise in the body will distort your results. We are 93% accurate.
Okay, we're going to have 2 minutes added for Q&A. Does anybody have any questions of Debs?
I have a quick comment.
Please.
If anybody, including you, Deb, are looking for a favorable introduction to a family office group, reach out to me at jason@yoursafemoneysolution.com. I'd be happy to help you so that you can finish your capital raise.
Great. You'll see Debs is going to put some information in the chat in a moment, so you'll know how to connect with her. Anybody else have any questions? Some of you
Yes.
probably, please go ahead.
Yes, hi, Mike. Yes, Debs, I'm definitely interested. I'm just curious as to how is this technology going to be useful for communities of color that are still not necessarily connected to all of the technology that this type of platform requires, and they still have the higher rates of heart disease due to lack of whether it's insurance or access to any type of medical treatment. So what is the actual market and the market outreach?
Actually, I'm so glad you said that. Because of this remote monitoring, all of a sudden, all those heart failure patients and people of color are on. Dr. Kevin Ferguson is Black, an amazing genius across the board. So we're very sensitive to these type of issues. And I believe we can address all the remote issues for poorer people. I mean, right now, to get this information, it's a $25 invasive procedure, okay? $25,000. We changed that to a $54 scan, okay? The doctor increases his revenue across the board. I think our test was $300,000 to $400,000 a year. It is not just something nice to have. This is information like blood pressure, okay? It's stroke volume and fluid management, okay? Everyone in the world is trying to get this information, but we've developed it. We've got probably a 5-year lead, although it's technology. And I can't tell you how excited I am and passionate I am, because I know my father died of heart failure and 5 heart attacks, very, very painful. And I don't want families to go through what we did as a family, because it's
Everybody, just because we need to move on, please reach out to Debs through the chat. She saved this technology. She bought it. She's making it possible to bring to the public. She's a hero. You're going to want to get involved with this company that she's developed. Up next is Mohammed. You're next.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Can you guys hear me fine?
Yes.
All right. So in today's competitive environment, organizations are constantly looking for ways to improve efficiency and reduce cost. Therefore, it's no surprise that startups and enterprises alike are striving to leverage the power of cloud computing. However, they are impeded by one significant barrier: shortage of cloud experts. This talent shortage often leads many cloud adoption initiatives to fail, resulting in significant cost overruns and project delays. The urgency for a solution is imminent. Now think of a turnkey solution that is equivalent to having a team of cloud experts. That's precisely what Cloud Accelerator offers. It empowers existing teams to smoothly transition applications to high-performing, enterprise-grade cloud infrastructures. What traditionally took weeks or even months now gets done in a few hours. What separates Cloud Accelerator from other existing solutions is that it's designed to be used by the teams already in place. So it's an enabler rather than a replacement. Customers who adopted Cloud Accelerator gained a competitive edge with faster time to market, increased productivity, and cost savings of up to 80%. In conclusion, we believe Cloud Accelerator is the answer to the industry's urgent needs. Thanks for watching.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Questions or comments? I guess then I'll just jump in. What's holding you back?
So we need some investment because I ran out of runway, to be honest. I am the sole owner and I need investment to take it to the next level through my marketing campaigns. So that's what's holding me back.
Okay, so but could you grow from revenue rather than through investment?
Yes, so the growing through revenue would be difficult because it needs significant marketing campaign. We need to tell people what the product does and how it can benefit their business. So for marketing, obviously, we would need some revenue. And it's because it's a SaaS-based product, it can have a recurring revenue. And within 5 years, we can be in a much more profitable situation. If somebody's interested in looking at financials, I'll be happy to share.
Is anybody using it right now?
Yes, so we have about 5 customers all through my personal network at this point. So we are generating revenue. We have built a TikTok marketplace clone for one of our customers using our technology, and their AWS bill is like under $100.
And how much do you charge?
So we charge $10 per component, and usually an application requires about 50 to 60 components to be able to run successfully.
Anybody else have a thought or question? Thanks, Mohammed.
I do,
Oh, go ahead. I hear a voice. Go ahead, Lily.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question. How have you tried organic like SEO kind of a marketing strategy?
Yeah, so I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. That's the strategy I know. And because I have a different background than marketing, I'm not too sure on how to do it, the SEO version. But LinkedIn, I'm creating demos, blog posts.
Okay, we're gonna have, thank you all. We're gonna have to move on. Up next is Shrock.
Hello, how are you?
Right.
Nice green, Mark. I'm gonna just go into it. So I'm Shrock, the founder of Zarya. So a couple of years ago, I was trying to customize a shirt online. The traditional way of doing that is a market called print on demand. Print on demand is a bunch of online platforms that allows you to pick a silhouette like a shirt, and they will allow you to upload a picture or a design to that shirt to customize it. 2 years ago, I couldn't get like the design I want or find it online, and it was expensive. So I was like, let's automate the print design process for clothing. Problems with print design. Apparently, based on the research we did, a single print design like a Hawaiian print takes on average 8 hours to be designed and produced. And the cost of the license for that print on average is 400 USD. How we're solving it? We're automating the print design process with an image generating model, basically generating results that are done in 10 seconds and are 80% cheaper. We're monetizing our our business plan model is to monetize on that as a SaaS, mainly generating and selling print designs to designers, businesses, and consumers for their own product lines. Monetize it as an API, integrate that image generating API onto other platforms like print on demand, video games, creating custom assets for the silhouettes of other brands, and then taking it to consumer. We're a team of 3 with 1 advisor. Our MVP is live, and we have some users on the MVP. We're going for LOIs and pre-sales, and we are raising a 1.1 USD pre-seed round. Thanks.
What's your valuation at 1.1?
I'm looking at 8 mil post money.
And you have no revenue?
Not yet. I'm going for LOIs and pre-sales. That's what I'm working on.
Okay, I'm just gonna drop this as a opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, okay?
Sure.
Not likely to ever find any investors that are going to buy into an $8 million valuation on a pre-revenue company with only 3 people on the team. I'm just saying, I've seen too many deals. Those of you who think that that's going to be possible, you may be wasting a lot of time. So I don't want, I hope I'm wrong, but my guess is that the range of pre-revenue, most pre-revenue companies that are in spaces like yours, if somebody invests 250,000 into you, for example, and they take that early risk, they're looking for a minimum 10% equity. That puts you at 2.5 million in valuation. I just want everybody to know the valuations of startups have gone way, way down in the last 15, 18 months. And if you don't recognize that, investors will punish you because they know that. And you're in a beauty pageant pitching against a lot of other companies who are going to at least recognize market value and reduce their valuations. And if you keep your valuations too high, you're just not going to end up in the running where somebody's going to end up investing you. It's a personal opinion. Does anybody have any questions? I'm sorry to have dominated most of the 2-minute Q&A. Any quick questions or comments?
Mark, just really quickly, allow me to concur with you. Reason being is because we're seeing companies that are generating revenue that have lower valuations. They'll just become a little bit more interesting than a pre-revenue company with that type of valuation.
Well said. Thank you so much for saying that. I mean, part of what we're doing here is teaching and educating, and I hope that you will take all of these comments as suggestions. In any event, when you hear the initial ding on the clock, just understand that means 30 seconds left. When you hear that, that means we're done. Anyway, Chirag, very good. Thank you very much for coming. Looking forward to learning more. Up next is Reese.
You got that right. Thank you, Mark. Hi, everybody. So I just pitched last week, so I'll try to do a slightly different pitch to make it a change up. A couple of weeks ago, many of you might remember when Ja Morant, the basketball player on the Memphis Grizzlies, posted a photo of himself holding a gun on Instagram, right? And when that happened, here's what happened. His agent had to try to save a sponsorship. Nike had to figure out what to do. In 3 days, they were about to launch his new sneaker line. Powerade was about to launch their new drink with Ja Morant's face on it. And guess what? They canceled everything, dropped everything. They all lost millions. Why? Because they assumed that was it. They had to do it. If they had used social media the right way and understood what was happening with social media, they would have understood that while the fans agreed he should have been suspended and get mental health help, they still wanted to buy the products. So my name is Reese Ryan. I am the CEO of EchoBar. I am a 3X founder, 25 plus years in entertainment sports with my co-founder as well. And what we've done is we've developed advanced predictive AI and data science listing platform for social media. Unlike legacy, and I mean legacy social media analytics, we can actually understand the who, what, and why of what's happening on social media so that brands can answer the $1 million question. We're not about writing a post. We're not about generating text. We're about actually figuring out answers. We've done work for Nike when Naomi Osaka dropped out of the French Open and how to respond. Fox TV spent nearly $1 million trying to do PR and had no idea what worked. So that being said, we're in launch mode. We're looking for $100,000 early stage money to help with our launch. And we've got quite a number of trial customers. So thank you very much. And
so the software, is it giving suggestions, or do you and your team have to look at the software and tell the client what they should do?
It's all automated. The software actually tells them how to handle things, who's saying what, demographics, DE. We have full DEI analysis. We're the only company in the world that can do DEI on social media with our AI, plus a whole bunch of other predictive AI we've developed.
How are you going to charge?
We're a B2B SaaS company. So someone like the Boston Bruins, I'm in the Boston area. I love Boston Bruins. They'd be paying $50,000 to $75,000 a year for us. We're talking with a very large company at the moment. They sponsor hundreds of people. They're close to $1 million client.
What do you need in order to be positive cash flow?
Well, we're looking, like I said, $100,000 for our launch efforts right now in a roadshow. We've already got the two largest publications in entertainment wanting to work with us and sponsor events for our launch. Next step after that is to raise $900,000 for getting the rest of the team on board full-time and growing.
Got it. Anybody got a question or comment?
Yeah, that was, well, you asked part of my question, but then I was kind of thinking you're asking for too little, but then you're saying you're looking for the 900,000 after the fact. Why aren't you going after the $1 million? And where are you actually looking to do regarding DEI when you've got now governments and private sector that are trying to cut those DEI initiatives? Like, how is your platform going to help to protect that vital scenario?
That's a great question. I wish we had more time. I could explain it. Look, I would love to get the full $1 million, go full board, hire everybody, do everything I need to. But my short-term need right now is $100K for the launch. Get that accomplished, right? Get more customers on board, keep growing. So again, I'll take $1 million if I can find the right investors. If I have some early stage investors, the $100K is my most pressing need. The DEI is just a longer answer. I'm sorry, but I do have an answer for it.
Okay, we can connect offline. We can connect in the chat.
Perfect.
I'll put my stuff in the chat. Thanks. Have a nice night.
Thank you. All right. Up next is Colin.
Hi, my name is Colin Phillips. I have a mobile app out. It's called III. It's a digital name tag that tracks users within 150 feet and shows their social media. So if you walk in a nightclub, you can just pull up everyone's social media. Or like if you're at a business meeting, you could just pull up everyone's social media so you can like interact faster. So it makes it easy for like models and creators to grow from like in-person interactions. Cause like if you go in a room with like 100 people, you can't just talk to everyone and get their social media. You can only probably talk to like 2 or 3 of them. And it's close proximity, so there's no like random people showing up. It's like someone you're probably seeing or like looking at. And then to monetize it, I was gonna make like a marketplace, and that's gonna be called the Bodega. And there's gonna be like local sellers only, and it's gonna have like same day delivery, so it can compete with Amazon. So there's no shipping; it's just same day delivery. And yeah, it's like and also there's going to be a separate delivery app, so we're going to be able to like hire drivers like Uber. And yeah, so if I got like, I'm looking for funding now, so if I got funding, I was going to start like running ads on like Snapchat, like hire some like models to like do like tutorials on how it works. And yeah, it's called III.
Is the software already developed?
Yeah, it's on the App Store, but and the Play Store, but it doesn't have a marketplace on it, and it doesn't have the driving app yet.
Okay, and how much are you gonna charge? Are you gonna make money?
So I was gonna have seller accounts for like $30, and then creator accounts for like $10, and then there's gonna be seller fees. So if you're selling items on there, or if you're like a business and you want to like promote a post, you can yeah, pay for that. That's $30. And then there's going to be like the driving app. And then if you want to like tip drivers, like transaction fees and that stuff.
Okay, I have one comment, and I'm hoping you'll take it in the spirit of constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody hand money to somebody who's wearing a shirt like you're wearing. Like you've got this fantastic background, and you have, and you're promoting everything. But you know, if you're coming to me as an investor and you want me to hand you money, dress accordingly. That's all I would say. Even if it's not you, dress accordingly. Like, you know, dress up a little bit, because otherwise, you know, if you're, it just, my guess is that other investors in the room will agree with me if we actually could survey them. But my recommendation to you is, you know, focus on your personal presentation as much as you did on that background that you have, which looks really good behind you. Does anybody else have questions or comments?
I do. Personally, I think that's a great idea. I would get rid of the driving app platform. I think that from a liability perspective, that's a huge liability. And also the marketplace is like too dominated already, and it's just too much of a platform. But like for any investor that's out there, like I also work in music as well as working in tech. And I can just absolutely say like this has one of the best chances out of anything I've heard of being huge. So invest in this app. I don't know Colin at all. Never met him.
Nice.
Hey, Colin, does people have to have this on both phones? Does everybody in the room have to have it to work, or does it scan everywhere?
No, you have to put your own links on there. So you can put your LinkedIn, Instagram, and then yeah, both parties have to have it.
Right on. Thank you.
It's an incredible idea.
It's an awesome idea, and it's emerging in niche markets already. This is like a ubiquitous application of something that's already popping out of niche markets. It's super cool, Colin. Keep wearing the beaters and keep at it, man.
I'm just saying, if you're looking for big dollars, you're not going to find those investors investing in somebody wearing your outfit. I've never seen it before. Now that you could find the 1 in 1,000 out there, maybe, but all it does is means you're going to have to work a lot harder to find them. Telling you, I hate to say it, but if you dress up conservatively, at least you have a shot. You know, you have to play the role of somebody who's looking for investor when you're looking for investor. That role is different from your everyday life role. If otherwise, you're going to be out here looking for money a year from now. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. Glad the audience thinks you are onto something amazing. Let's move on to Timothy.
Hi, Hi, I'm Dr. Timothy Riley, the Scientific Director and CEO of Agile, a profitable tech conglomerate with over a dozen different genres of technology. Today, I'll talk about Agile Hospital, the world's most advanced healthcare provider. In fact, the only hospital in the entire planet providing free healthcare, DNA modulation technology, and Agile human parthenogenesis rebirth. Non-CRISPR DNA modulation medicine runs laps around any other specialty of medicine because we turn off the death genes causing the problem. So instead of killing cancer cells with just chemo or just radiation, which has high failure rates, we take over the cancer cell's DNA and reprogram the cells to perform apoptosis and return them to normal, healthy cells. Instead of letting people die from an aging caused from telomere shortening and improper gene expression, Agile Hospital lengthens telomeres and modulates over 10% of the genome. When you die at any other hospital besides Agile, they'll cut out your useful organs and throw the rest out like a rotting piece of meat, unfortunately. The sad fact is when the heart stops and declared dead, the patient isn't actually dead. Their cells live for up to 3 weeks post-declaration of death. At Agile, we understand biology better than any other hospital and have developed proprietary technology to revive the recently deceased as babies with partial memories. So no matter the cause of death, Agile can revive the patient, making Agile rebirth the ultimate cure to death. So anybody that knows about Agile's technology can become immortal, 99% guaranteed. This is our 5th week on Venture Starters. We've had lots of new connections. In that time, 6 million people died simply because they didn't know about Agile's technology. We are fundraising $2 million between sales, investment, and crowdfunding to be able to have the advertising budget to let the world know about our technology. Agile is missing out on over $50 million a month in opportunity costs, so there's a lot of good opportunity to have profitable investment or crowdfunding to help the project forward. If you're interested in joining Agile's team as an investor, or receiving free healthcare university, reach out to me. My info will be in the chat. To start for Q&A, you could ask, how does Agile's technology guarantee immortality on Earth? Not some like spirituality, but like actual science.
Well, let's start with the first question, which is what's your strategy to get FDA approval?
So everything is GRAS approved, so it's already pre-approved for sale.
Now, what is your strategy to get FDA approval? You said you're a hospital. You are representing yourself as a medical treatment. What is your strategy?
So it is already approved over the counter, and over the counter medications can't apply for prescription pharmacy FDA approval. So the molecules are already pre-approved by the FDA. So yeah, but we are going to work with creating implementing our technology with the FDA.
Quick suggestion, please, or do I have to raise
my hand? Please, John.
The FDA, I don't know if you've been really familiar with it. If you go out with a consumer product and try to go backwards for an FDA approval, it's really difficult. You know, it's easier to have the FDA approval and then coming out for the consumer product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, how are the memories? How do the memories stay? And you say they have partial memories. How does that work?
So we have 2 pathways to restore memory. So half of it is through the restoration of their cells and regrowing them. They do have part of their memories from that, but the other half is with our technology where we store their memories before they die using our computer system. And then when they come back, we're able to re-upload their memories.
And when you say come back, you have to explain what come back means.
Okay, yeah. So Agile Rebirth, we revive the patient as a baby with partial memories. So this is similar to IVF and cloning, where we are actually recreating the human, but as a baby.
Go ahead.
Just to be clear, I just like to jump in here. It's Blake Wind. I'd like it if the next time this was pitched, you would explain your credentials and qualifications, because it looks like you're claiming a doctorate from a school you created yourself.
Yes. So I went to Northeastern University in Boston. And then after that, I realized that the institutional system that was educating wasn't fully capable of teaching DNA modulation medicine and Agile human parthenogenesis rebirth. So then I created Agile University, which provides free university education to 180 countries across the world. And we use our curriculum from OpenCourseWare from MIT and Yale. So it's one of the world-leading curriculums. And we're in the process of becoming registered in the United States. And within probably 6 to 12 months, we will be fully registered as a US university.
But I think the idea that you're representing yourself as a doctor, which just designates certain meanings to investors, and then it's from a university that you're creating that has one employee, which is you, is got red flags written all over it. And the odds that somebody's going to invest in you when they see that are slim to none. is my guess. You
I
need to
see.
tighten
Well,
that
I would
up.
say fundamentally, that's like fundamentally racist because this university is over 3,500 years old. If you did any research on the university, it was destroyed because of colonialism. Europeans came to America, to the Americas, and killed off the professors, the science, burned the books, etc. So
That's
it
not
was
the
around.
answer investors
It
are
was just
going to want to
destroyed.
hear, honestly. But anyways,
Yeah.
appreciate
But
the interesting pitch. Up next is Eli.
Sorry.
Thanks,
Hi,
Mark.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Mark, for the opportunity to present here again. I'm Eli Masaki, founder and CEO of Skillloan. We're building a career journey SaaS platform, which is an apprenticeship management and recruiting platform to address a shortage of 7.6 million skilled workers and help students to be trained and find good paying jobs and careers in the trades. The trades, by the way, include 2.8 million businesses in manufacturing, automotive, construction, and other blue-collar industries that the country desperately needs. So the TAM exceeds $17 billion. Our platform not only matches students with employers, it also generates the documentation that employers need to qualify for tax credits and grants, which offsets the cost of apprenticeships, especially for small businesses, and this makes our platform extremely attractive. We have strong traction and interest in the automotive industry, and we're working very closely with the California Automotive Association and numerous business owners. We have a formal training program in process with the Department of Labor and the state of California, which are required for the tax credits and grants. We generated $800,000 in revenue from our recruiting platform last year, and we're cash flow positive. We're looking to raise $3 million, starting with $500,000 on a safe with favorable terms at the end of July to execute on a successful launch in September and to onboard our first 200 clients. Thank you. By the end of the year.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Well, tell us why are you stuck?
Well, I just right now, I'm moving as quickly as I can without funding, with very limited resources. But I know when it comes to the launch, I'm going to need to spend money on marketing, and I'm going to need to hire some people to go to the schools and recruit the people, just educate people to know what we have, to teach them about the platform. We have a tremendous amount of, again, clients ready to sign up, ready to join the platform as soon as we get the approval from the Department of Labor and the state of California. And this is why we have the September launch. And that's also when the software will coincide to be completed as well.
So how do the investors get protected in the event that you don't get those approvals?
Well, the approvals it's just basically submitting the paperwork. It's more administrative. It's not like you're not going to get qualified. So if you follow the template and the requirements, you'll get approved. It's just internally, that's how long it takes them to go through it.
Anybody else?
Yeah. How do you know you've got a bunch of clients ready to sign up once it's approved? And if they do sign up, what kind of volume does that can you project from that confidently?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'm going to mute the room because we got somebody open. And you're going to have to unmute. I apologize, but I want to try. Oh, shoot. We still have some background noise there. Okay, try again. Eli, unmute. Sorry.
Yeah, so we've been recruiting in the automotive industry now for a few years. We have a lot of contacts, and there's a huge shortage of mechanics in the automotive industry. So I'm working with the Automotive Association of California, which has about 400 or 500 members. And a lot of them are very interested and excited because they want to train more students, get them into the industry. So as soon as we have the program approved, and that will be the only approved program in California, they're all ready to jump in.
Okay, we're going to wrap this one up. And Kent, before you start, you are next up. I want to introduce everybody who doesn't already know Eric Harris. Eric's going to talk a little bit about the after party. Eric, are you available to pop on now? He wasn't ready for me.
Mark,
let us know, Eric, when you're ready again. I'd like to get you back into the have you speak when you have a chance. All right, let's move on. Kent, you're up next.
Thanks, Mark. My name is Kent. I'm a scientist and the founder of Molecular Reality Corporation. We're a biotech startup developing an advanced molecular and cellular sensing technology using gamified, decentralized citizen science. We've raised 1.6 million in pre-seed capital from Y Combinator and others, and we're developing a product that, with only cursory promotion, got us almost 1,000 waitlisters. Based on this enthusiasm for the product, we believe we can reach 10.6 million in revenue beginning 6 months after closing our seed round. We built a prototype that many science and gaming geeks on our waitlist describe as the coolest thing they've ever heard of. We built an MVP device for experimenting with actual cells and molecules, and we turned it into a gaming console. The data from measuring cells and molecules generates the gaming experience, and we reward players for more and better data. We'll build a vast catalog of signals from the entire molecular world, from everything our players can sample from inside them and around them. The game we built is the world's first scientific instrument control software that's also a game. We'll feed all that data to advanced AI algorithms that will help us build what we call utility scale molecular sensing, a world where anyone can see any kind of molecule or cell inside or around them as easily as they now use the internet.
Okay. Anybody have any questions that can't?
Yeah, where can I see the prototype?
The prototype is on, we have various prototypes in various people's garages. The main one is in a basement in Pittsburgh where our CTO lives.
It's not online anywhere?
You can see a lot of images. I can share it with you. I can share with you images of the console form factor and the electronics inside. If you shoot me an email, you can definitely find it. If you want to do a deep dive with Google online, you can find images of the console. And I can also show you some pretty nifty things in a live demo if we talk. If I can pitch you in person on a Zoom or Google Meet.
Anybody else?
Hey, Kent, this is Ernest. It sounds like you have some technology that you're still trying to keep as a trade secret that's not openly published or patented. Perhaps you could work on a type of YouTube demo video that hints at what you're creating so that curious people could do. It's because it sounds like something that can be used in industry and all kinds of things, man.
Yeah. So we actually have a patent. It's public. And I've actually talked extensively in various YouTube videos about the technology. So we're very open about it, actually.
Anybody else?
As a former molecular biologist, I'm super excited, Kent. Thanks for building it.
Yeah, well, if you have any money, reach out to me. But otherwise, even if you don't have any money, reach out to me and get on our wait list, because probably half of the people on our wait list are scientists or recovering scientists or teachers of STEM, etc. Yeah, so please get in touch if you want to play with one of them. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Up next is Mai.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mai Moore, and I'm the founder of Boss Me In. As much of us know, there's a lot happening around women executives, middle management in the corporate business space. You've got the great breakup, you've got quiet quitting, DEI issues, equity issues, women wanting to be paid for what they're worth, and burnout. And also with Gen Z, we're really setting up for failure because we're not really being authentic in our leadership, which is something they're looking for, and we're not being supportive enough for their pathway to the C-suite. So Boss Me In is a social impact corporation founded by members of Chief, which is the largest women executive network in the world. And what we do is we empower diverse executive women and Gen Z to solve for the future of work. Our initial solution is a plug and play curated speaker series product that we are selling to nonprofits, universities, and corporations with a TAM of $1 billion. And we also offer mentoring and workshops. And so we've already tested this out, conducting over 6 events, serving over 300 young women and 20 speakers. And we're 150% over our sales goal for the year, with a couple of sales pending and 2 closed actually that are supported by Chief. And our goal is to reach 1 million purses in 3 years. And so we're raising $750,000 in the next 90 to 120 days to help empower our team so that we can move our year 2 sales goal into year 1. Help Boss Me In.
How much are you going to be charging for this?
$35,000 an event.
Oh, I see. Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, this is Bo. Please reach out to SHRM if you're not already. Thank you.
SHRM. Okay.
Try
Oh,
and put
Sherm?
information in the chat so you don't miss each other by accident.
Just a quick comment, definitely great pitch. Love that, love all of that you're bringing to the table. I'm just hoping that you're looking at kind of the, intergenerational, trying to get history and legacy, you still have some very prominent baby boomers out there, so make sure that you're bringing that history as well to the table. That builds a strong foundation for that future. And, you can get to some significant investment and outreach opportunities, but love it. Just, keep pouring in that estrogen. I love it.
Thank you so much. We actually have a brand new Gen Z leadership team with Gen Z young women literally across the world that are helping to empower this corporation as well. So thank you.
Anybody else?
I would just add that as a person who's born in '89, no one knows what Gen Z is. So with $35,000 per event, it sounds like a great pitch. But reaching out, considering that I'm in New York City and it's a city council election that is horrible and it's killing all of the New York City money, pitching to people who have the money to go to the events, but do not want to invest in creating the events. Takes Gen Z, Gen X, and Gen Y beyond 2023. I hope that makes sense. That's what I have to add. Bye.
I'm going to flip the script. We actually have a referral program where Gen Z can actually make money. We're selling to the university and nonprofit corporation. We're not
I
expecting
get
Gen
you,
Z.
but I'm class of 2023 and I'm not Gen Z. So we don't know what that is. That pitch doesn't reach me. If I'm paying $35,000 per event and I'm not doing a TED Talk or masterclass, as a Syracuse University graduate, you should reach out to people who are Ivy.
Okay, are you actually investor? Because I'm looking for $750,000.
I am,
$35,000 is
but
the
I'm
price
not
for
going to
service.
invest $750,000 for Gen Z because I'm not Gen Z.
Okay, well, if you'd like to make money from it, we have a referral program.
Okay, thank you for the pitch. And I do appreciate that the audience is participating in the Q&A, and I would encourage you to continue to do that. Up next is James.
Hi, yes, thank you, Mark. So I have a shift from 5 to 9 that I'm going to be late for just because I wanted to do this. Answering calls from the Friendship Line that's based out of San Francisco. And if anybody knows them, they're kind of a warm line. Anyways, they just made a decision to cut off the rest of the nation, and they're only going to be allowed to take calls from people that live in California starting July 1st. In the last 2 weeks, I've been taking calls from them. Everybody that's calling saying, this sucks. I depend on you guys. You guys are the only option for mental health in my area because mental health in this country is so lacking. And I tell people, I hear you, right? There is a market gap in this country of why people that don't have health insurance, that can't afford a psychologist or a therapist, aren't getting the help they need. Okay, so my business is a communication tool. It's a disruptive technology. And I'm looking for an investor that can feel that can say, there is a need for that in our country, and we need to provide that help to people. So that's the kind of person I'm looking for. If that's not you, then you don't have to invest. But that's the kind of investor that I'm looking for. this tool that I've created, we have apps on the Google Play Store and the iPhone store, will reach all over the world and can let people in underserved areas get help that they need. Not only mental health, but especially mental health, because I personally am passionate about that. And I'd love to, there's so much more that I could ever explain regarding this country, this company. I will put my information in the chat, and I am ready for Q&A. I thank you.
How much are you raising?
We're raising $1 million, and that would be to cover staffing for the next year, 2 years. I have an actual a PowerPoint, a Google Doc that I could share with anyone that's interested, showing exactly where your $1 million would go. And then I have another doc that shows exactly how you would get it back. So I'd be happy to share that as well.
How profitable are you with that $1 million?
In 2 years' time, could double that. But those are just projections. The opportunities are limitless.
So just for everybody's sake, and again, my opinions as an investor, what we want to hear is if you want $1 million from us, we want to understand what that will translate in revenues and profits. The last thing we want to hear is that covers our expenses for the next year. Then all we're basically investing in is a pathway to expenses, not a pathway to profits. So it may just be the way you phrase it or the way you say it. It may turn out that you actually have everything that an investor wants to hear, but just understand that, for instance, when you say we need this much money for our runway to cover this many months, most investors aren't interested in covering a runway. They're interested in finding out how much revenue and profit their investment gets the company, and focus it on that. And if it turns out that your pitch is we'll have $5 million in revenue with that $1 million that's invested, that's more interesting than it's going to be spent over the next year. May just be the way you're saying it, James. I'm actually saying this just to help you pitch it better to investors like me. Is there anybody else that I don't know, was that the Q&A period? Did anybody else have a quick question or comment? James is addressing a actual very important telehealth issue.
Hi, James. This is Callie Tao.
Hi.
I have equity as an agency in an app called Stability, and I want to have a Zoom with you privately or off of the hour Zoom right now when you have time, so that we can possibly help you, because we're white labeling some of our technology, and then we do mental health care. So feel free to reach me. It's unpreserved@gmail.com, and I'll put my email in the chat, and I'm in the queue, I think. Okay. But yeah, good luck. Good job.
Thank you kindly.
Okay. Also, just to everybody, please keep your microphone off unless you're actually speaking. You don't realize, but it's creating background noises and problems. So we literally need to cut you off on our end if we see that you have an open mic. And it's very hard for us to manage when there's over 100 people in the room, which is a ton of people for a Zoom event. So please, if everybody can just monitor their mic, we would very much appreciate it. Thank you, James. Meet James in the chat. He's working on something that sounds really important. I hope he can succeed. Up next is Nicholas.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nicholas Tubach. I'm the founder of Propion, aka How to Slow Time Inc. At Propion, we're looking at two molecules, which we call Propion 1 and 2. Propion 2 has achieved the highest recorded life extension data in any small organism by a small molecule, that is not including genetic manipulation. Propion 1 has been implicated in several diseases, or the absence of Propion 1 or decreased levels of Propion 1 have been implicated in several diseases. We have a hard commitment of $50,000 from one investor and a soft commitment of $50,000 from another investor. We're speaking with donors from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging about closing anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million per donor. I'm here today to find somebody to match that first $50,000. They will get a significantly better deal on their safe because the boat is leaving the station, but we want to get investors in as fast as possible. So what these two molecules are going to do is be sold over the counter and be sort of a revolutionary personal health care treatment for the entire world. We believe they could deliver on the promise that resveratrol initially tried and failed at. We believe they could be the next generation aspirin. I'm working with a leading gut microbiome researcher and leading aging researchers to develop and promote these products.
Does this have to be FDA approved?
No, it does not.
And these molecules are already what? They're just natural and already been approved, or are they already being sold?
Yeah, so they're created by your gut microbiome, and they're also found in trace amounts in vegetables. What does need to happen is that they have to be approved as new dietary ingredients, but that does not mean that they have to be approved as drugs. That's like a $500,000 process as opposed to a $500 million process. So that's going to be a part of our initial seed raise expenditure.
Okay, and how much were you raising? You mentioned a few people that were interested.
We're raising a pre-seed round of $2 million.
Of $2 million, at what valuation?
Up to $2 million. And it's in safe notes and convertible notes. Again, so the first safe note in, the first person to wire transfer money in the next couple of weeks will get that safe note at a $3 million 0% discount valuation cap. And we're going to be going from the 50,000 to 2 million all the way up to 10 million in valuation, depending on how much each group transfers.
Okay, again, pre-revenue companies rarely really raise money above 3 million valuation.
We understand.
So yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, don't turn all the investors off because you overvaluate. Up next is Kyle.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kyle from Cutaccord Entertainment, and I'm here to introduce you to the Case Smart Hub. I invented it to just make things easier after I started the pandemic with a month in the hospital. And once I found out that it's federally guaranteed to save over 150 million Americans $420 a year, it went from selling patent rights to starting Cutaccord Entertainment to make sure the Case Smart Hub helps people as it was intended. It takes your fiber optic or Ethernet or cellular internet connection and your coax cable satellite broadcast TV connection and HDMI, USB, Ethernet, or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connections from other devices, and it wirelessly streams all of the content to all of your TVs and devices and allows you to record. So it's your cable satellite broadcast TV, your streaming services, distance education, telemedicine, remote workspaces, and pretty much any kind of home media setup you would want, and all of your recordings all available to you on something you own instead of rent. So we're seeking $240,000 in seed funding and debt or equity, and always seeking affiliate partners, and just looking to connect more and say hi to everybody. So that should do it for today.
Great that you're saying hi. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions?
I heard you're raising debt. Is this a revenue generating operation, or are you still pre-revenue?
Still pre-revenue. About 6 weeks from funding is when we're expected.
How are you going to price it?
It's got a high valuation cap because of patents. But willing to make a deal, probably 5 to 10%, depending from 250 to 750,000.
Anybody else?
Have you made any money yet on your licensing?
No.
Okay. Meet Kyle in the chat. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, I'll post it in there.
Up next is Ernest.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ernest Ike. I'm the founder of Shandoka. We build electric motorcycle retrofit systems that make it safe and simple to convert existing motorcycles from gas power to electric. Now, on the image that you see behind me, this is a Kawasaki Ninja 250. They made almost 2 million of these motorcycles and sold them around the world. It's Kawasaki's best-selling motorcycle ever. And the patent we were issued in the United States, which is also pending for Brazil, China, and India, makes it possible to take this motorcycle and many other models just like it that have a stress-bearing engine, and convert it to a very simple and straightforward electric drive system. In addition to that, the system's designed so that the battery is able to be easily swapped out of the bottom of the architecture of the motorcycle. Now, most of our competitors in the electric motorcycle space started with the premise that they wanted to build the world's most amazingly perfect electric motorcycle. And what they've come up with is usually priced accordingly. Many of our competitors are going to market with motorcycles that are priced between $60,000 and $150,000 each, whereas we're able to do a complete conversion package for a motorcycle and match almost that same performance for between $15,000 and $30,000, depending on what you're wanting to do. In addition, our plan supports existing motorcycle dealerships and shops and independent builders so that they can enter the electric motorcycle and electric transportation world without having to worry about the complex engineering or safety requirements of motorcycles. There's a very strong potential for this to grow in a way that we just can't even imagine. A good way to look at this is how quickly the electric vehicle industry has gone from almost nothing to billions of dollars a year. The top four cars in the United States are Teslas for American content. And it really demonstrates the variability of what we can do globally. There's a lot more I'd love to tell you about. I'm looking forward to answering your questions.
What does the kit cost?
The kit is between $15,000 and $30,000, depending on range, power, etc. And you have to keep in mind that some of these vehicles are for commuter bikes, others are for performance level type motorcycles. So the range is involved mostly in the battery componentry and that voltage and charging levels. And then the independent dealers, they get to add a lot of value on top of that with the add-ons, the custom paint, body work, etc.
How much have you sold so far?
We've got about 10 people on our waiting list, and I'm also talking with some people in overseas countries about orders in the magnitude of 1 to 200 per month for their systems. We're focusing more on distribution. So I've got a distributor ready for Canada, and and a couple other countries. One of the things that this industry has been ruined by people faking things. And so only 2 weeks ago, we got our performance motorcycle completed so that we could demonstrate it to folks. And that has really driven traction, literally, on what we're doing.
Can you get people to pre-order it and actually give you deposits so that investors know that there's really going to be buyers?
Yes, on the website, we have everything set up for that, and we have collected pre-orders. I expect it to move real quickly coming up. Great question, Mark, about demonstrating that pre-order status.
Go ahead.
When you said 15 to 30,000, is that your cost or is that what you're selling it for?
That's the cost to the middle point, to the independent shop or the custom builder. Keep in mind, a lot of these motorcycles on the market, a custom gas-powered Harley Davidson is usually $40,000 to $60,000. So this is very much in line with the market pricing.
Is there really a demand, though, to convert over to electric and spend that much money?
Yes, we were able to meet and match performance for less than what a brand new electric motorcycle is. There's tremendous pent-up demand. Last year, electric motorcycles grew at 60% in the United States in a market that was down 5% for motorcycles overall. So yes, there's tremendous demand for electric mobility worldwide.
I assume it isn't a home DIY project. You have to have someone who knows what the hell they're doing, right?
Correct, absolutely. And there are federal regulations on servicing battery packs in vehicles that are over 72 volts. This voltage can kill you if you don't test it by touching it to your tongue.
So
quickly, I like my Harley to make sound. This doesn't excite me.
Well, if you've got power on board, you can make sound. And the thing that you're really interested on a motorcycle is not making noise, it's moving. And the only two things that are really important on a motorcycle is how to go fast and how to stop. So believe me, when you try it, you'll be surprised that you don't miss the sound one bit.
Just get some speakers that make the sound.
That's 1 minute. So I own the first ever superbike racing team from India, and we were world champions in 2013. And I shared my details on the chat. I'd be definitely interested because I've been a motorcycle enthusiast from my teens. to all the way up to now. And we were world champions in 2013. Check it out. My
Thank
details
you.
in the
I want to quickly say Harley is going full electric. So yeah.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It is inevitable. And truly, the fastest cars on the planet right now are electric. And that's the truth about motorcycles. I have talked to so many 6'8", 400-pound Harley Davidson riders. And as soon as I mention the fact that you cannot turn off the sound on a Harley if you don't want somebody to know where you are, they raise an eyebrow. There's
All
a
right,
lot of
quickly-
benefits to
quickly,
being
Ernest.
silent.
6 years ago in Palm Desert, we had the Harley thing. I took a Vespa and I put a sound system on it where it sounded just like a Harley. People couldn't figure out where it was coming from.
Yeah, we can make noise. Trust me.
Okay, I love this topic and it lit up a lot of people, but we're way.
I'll be here for the after party. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, perfect. Actually, all of you should be available, hopefully hang out for the after party. I'm hopeful that that'll happen. Kaylin, you're up next.
Hi, thanks. So I am one of the founders of WellTech AI, and we're building humane AI created by wellness experts for whole, healed, and healthy connection. So currently the large language models are trained to understand human language. I'm sure we've all had our turn at ChatGPT, right? But they're not designed to prioritize the wellness and the mental health of their participants. So at WellTech, we're utilizing a wellness index and continuous training by human experts in wellness fields to create a feedback loop where deviations are spotted and the model is then continually fine-tuned. So by integrating these human graders into the continuous training process brings valuable expertise and contextual understanding that might be challenging for LLMs to grasp independently. So the collective intelligence of human evaluators combined with the computational power and speed of LLMs offers a comprehensive and efficient solution. So what makes this most impactful is that it's a repeatable model. We can easily duplicate it and provide a turnkey solution to any website or app with user context and interaction. So some of our potential clients categories include fitness and wellness apps, content streaming platforms, educational platforms, health and wellness services, corporate wellness programs, corporate communications and HR, and online communities and forums. So we're currently in the final round of interviews with one of the top accelerators for their fall 2023 cohort. We have two deals actually in the works for $100K each, with between 20 to 40K per month per client RMR, one of which made their deposit today for their build out. We also have several other leads in the pipeline looking to implement our AI into their apps. And we're working with another website that gets about 500,000 visitors per month. So we're looking to raise $1 million for 20% and for connections to other startups that might be interested in utilizing our AI on their platforms.
And what do you expect to gain from getting into that accelerator program?
Putting our pedal to the metal and getting out there first. Currently, this is obviously a very competitive market, and we want to be the first with the focus that we have and the spin that we are taking on it.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Quick comment.
Go ahead, please, lady first.
Sorry, I appreciate that. Quick comment, Kaylin, just a suggestion. Maybe if you slow down the presentation and just focused a little bit more on some of the key bullet points. You were throwing more acronyms out there than, baseball pitches during like a World Series game.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to focus on what you're trying to say and get across, because, definitely wellness and health and wellness, you're spot on with regard to putting the focus on the wellness. But again, just kind of, tighten it up, personalize it more because of the industry that you're looking to get in. And I would suggest that you talk to James and a few of the others who have been talking about the health and wellness era, because I kind of see a significant type of, collaboration. But put that amount out there first, like what you're looking to get, and then what you're bringing to the table for your investors and for the community. I mean, unfortunately, me being in the New York area, we service a patient load that's, still in the Great War, World War II, baby boomers, things of that nature. So they don't have access to all of these, doodahs and gadgets. They literally want to still have a connection with someone. They want to be able to talk to somebody and hear about, what the solutions are to help them with their day-to-day depression and, the RAIs and the RAs, all that, over the heads of many. So just kind of bring it, closer to the surface and to the heart for the people you're trying to address.
I agree.
Appreciate
Sometimes less is more. Was there another comment?
Yeah, Caitlin, I run a pre-seed and seed stage fund. I'd like to talk about this more if you're actively raising from around. I've seen just from ChatGPT alone, like some excellent use cases on this. And that's not even like specifically for the use case that you're building for. So yeah, I would definitely love to learn more. Let's make sure that we connect.
Thanks, Jay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Love that. Let's move on. Breck, you're up next.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate this platform. This is amazing. So my name is Breck Rice. I'm out of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a healthcare disruptor and a patient advocate. I've been in healthcare now for 20 years. I get to work with some amazing professionals who are saving lives and helping patients feel better, live longer, most importantly, actually get better. I have a network of about 20,000 community pharmacies that I work with, and we are setting up health and wellness centers right inside of these pharmacies. Most of them are in rural parts of the US, so where some healthcare is not that available to them. So this is an amazing opportunity to help bring some really good technology and wellness programs. We're using conventional medicine, Western medicine, but we're also bringing in complementary integrative medicine and technology and artificial intelligence as well. So I'd love more information about the last presenter as well. Looking to raise capital right now. I've been bootstrapping this project, and I need some help, and so that's why I'm doing a raise of 500K, because I need to hire some implementation coordinators. We've already stood up, are in the process of standing up 10 locations, and we have people waiting in the wings to get their clinics set up. And I saw some boots on the ground to go out and help set these up. So we're in revenue, but not in the billing revenue yet. So it's still early stage. And so the 500K would go to bringing in some key employees.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I have one. So this is Eric. Breck, please connect with me. I have a couple of people in the pharmacy space, so I can definitely connect, help you on that. From a pitch perspective, yeah, definitely tighten up the story. And it's not a critique. It's something on everybody, like understanding the audience and where you are, and then who's in the audience that can help you. It just tighten up, because it took me a while to understand exactly what you were trying to get after or get out. And a lot of times people are trying to figure out, what are you doing and what are you trying to get out? So that's one thing I would suggest. But other than that, that's why we're all here to learn and connect and work together. So
yeah, definitely appreciate that. I think the time clock kind of makes you a little nervous. You want to make sure you get it all in there in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The clock actually have a very interesting impact on our entire community events. As Breck, let's see. Was there any other quick questions of Breck? I meet Breck in the chat for one. It sounds like what you're doing is really admirable and worthwhile. Eric, since you're back in the room, will you please tell everybody what's going to happen at the top of the hour?
Yeah, so I'm going to bring Mark into my after party, but we're actually going to probably end up calling it more of a hangout, where we sit down and we talk about some of the pitches from today. So a lot of you all pitched. We'll have some people invite them in to speak around either VCs, or it could be investors, or it could be mentors. And we'll not critique for the sake of critiquing, but critiquing to learn. How do we pitch better? How do you get the story out and do those? And we'll just have a conversation about that. And also help you understand, like, not all funding needs to be VC funding. There are other types of capital that you can go after. If you have traction, how do you present traction first? If you have traction, that is something that is of value. And there's other things, as well as in the community as well. How do you get into the community and start to network and connect with each other? This is a real thing. It happens. There are people that literally just want to help founders be successful. But if you're hiding and you're holding things back, you can't do it. I got some people on here, Bruce, some other people, Blake, they are here to help you all out. There's a lot of people, I don't want to drop all the names, but there's a lot of people in the community that are here to help you out. And this is made possible because of this community that is growing. So that's going to happen right at the top of the hour. And we'll ask questions, real questions, get you in here, talk through it, and make it all part of this. But we're doing it here versus being inside the community. So yeah, see you all soon on that.
Yep. Hopefully you guys can stick around for that, because I find that it's really valuable, that interaction between everybody. So come hang out with us. Up next is Alexi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Alex. I'm a senior manager at IMU Studios Gaming Company. Let me take a moment and express my gratitude to investors, teachers, and organizers for investing your time into our meeting today. Thank you so much. People interact with gadgets over 8 hours of a daytime. 70% of their time, they consume content. Some people feel awful for wasting their time on entertainment, but still playing. IMU Studios promises to compensate every gamer for achievements, trading goods, and win in tournaments with virtual assets. We make people happy by doing what they love to do, play and consume content. Our product is a video game Thunder, an open world team game built in incredible Unreal Engine 5, featuring organic high fantasy and photorealistic art direction. Our economics is based on Web3 crypto marketplace. Our competitive advantage is that real gamers own a part of the game, gain value while interacting with Thunder universe, and build wealth while playing the game. The market capacity is huge. Last year, it almost reached $200 billion. With our streaming TV shows, game, and novels, Thunder is about to take 1% of the market in the next 3 years. How investors make money? Due to constantly gaining wealth, investors get 6% from everything Thunder universe, which will multiply your return up to 26 times in next 5 years. And at the moment, we've built open world map, characters, lore, marketplace, and 200,000 game testers waitlist. We asked for $3 million for a year, and in December 2024, we launched a game. Thank you.
Okay. Any gamers in the community that have questions or comments?
I know there's a few gamers that were in here. They're actually wanting to build out a cohort inside the community. So that is something that's big. So yeah, we definitely will be looking at that and doing something specific around gamers. But Web 3.0 and all this stuff is coming up.
Yes, it's absolutely incredible.
Well,
Gotcha.
how do you know your game is a entertaining and engaging game compared to the tons of competition that you have in that sector?
Thank you so much for this question. So usually people consume the content and get nothing except entertainment. So we're about to, it's like we call it shortly, monetize your ADHD, which means that you don't have to feel like a waste of time anymore with our game and our marketplace and novels and the movies.
And how are you gonna? Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. There was also mentioned in chat, so Kanav Argawal, I'm sorry if I'm saying that right, has a very good question that I wanted to ask you. How are you going to deal with the bot problem? Because if you're gaining money while playing, people will start using bots, and then it'll be not as fun for other players who are always playing against bots or things like that.
Okay, it depends on what kind of bots you're talking about. It's a gaming bot. It's impossible because you have to play the game to really win, or to watch the video, to watch the movie, etc. So and depending on what bot you mean. So I think I can answer your question in details if you contact me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Anybody else real quick? All right, thanks for pitching. Up next is Blake.
Hi there. Great to be back. I haven't been able to make the ones that are in the morning, but it's wonderful to be here because I have a Venture Starters success story to share.
Yay.
I actually went ahead, bit the bullet, and I'm creating my own advisory based off of people that I met via Venture Starters. from Joanna Goff to Jack Torobin, I've been connected with some wonderful people due to the time I originally spent here. And now I'm starting to work together with all those people to take on larger projects. But I love doing what I've continued to do while I've been here, which I will keep on doing. And that is connecting people to the series of contacts that I have from CVCs like Honda, Singapore Airlines, Renault, to accelerators like Techstars and SOSV. I'm especially interested in deep tech, but now my network is much, much bigger due to my venture starters compatriots, we can say. So if you're interested in getting more personalized support from me, please feel free to connect via LinkedIn, and I'll drop my details in the chat. Thank you so much for advancing my career, Mark.
Yay. Blake is one of my favorites in our community. You guys all need to get to know him. He's very well connected, well-meaning. Support Blake. I don't know if anybody has any other comments or wants to compliment Blake before we move on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
Blake's a rock star.
You're a treasure to the community. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Blake. All right, up next is Eli.
Meet John, lives in the city. Each day he battles traffic, high stress meetings, and the city noise. He knows there's more to life than the day-to-day grind. He feels an undeniable yearning to explore, to adventure, to nature, but life gets in the way. Lack of time and long distances from wilderness areas make this difficult. And to coordinate a vacation with his out-of-state friends, it gets complicated. This is not John's story. It's a common tale of millions. How many of you would like to have shared experience with a close friend who lives in another state? Or know you need to move your body more, but don't like traditional forms of exercise, or you simply want to nurture your inner explorer. This is where Venture Out comes in. We create virtual reality experiences which incorporate physical movement and competition as you compete against your friends from the comfort of your home while drastically reducing logistical and financial hurdles for less than $10 a month. Individuals who dropped into our prototype felt that they were transported elsewhere, and they emoted encouraging reactions. I'm seeking a lead engineer as co-founder, mentors and advisors who have gaming experience, and who may be a good fit to accelerate the vision. I'm Eli. I left big tech to found a company at the intersection of virtual and augmented reality and outdoor-themed movement-based pursuits. I'm bringing to life, or I'm bringing my love for the outdoors as I've competed in numerous endurance wilderness races, and I produce such races in real life. My vision is to bring that wonder I've experienced to the masses. Now, fast forward to John, who can now pop on a virtual reality headset and meet up with his faraway friend. After taking off the headset, he turns to his wife and he goes, wow, I actually felt I was in the wilderness with my buddy. Thank you.
Very cool sounding. How far, what do you have, an MVP or where are you with things?
Yeah, so I have a prototype. One of the gaps that I have is to show traction. So I dropped in, about 30 people into it. I need to test if there's enough fun factors. So it's a prototype. And so now I've gotten a build and I'm going to be canvassing, doing pop-ups and getting people in real life to do it. And then the next stage is having it accessible for folks to drop it in off the Meta platform so they could test it. The first thing that I want to do is there enough of a fun factor? And if that proves so, it's encouraging thus far, then I get to the vertical slice. This is where you put in the UX, the UI, and all the engagement and the feedback loops and all that fancy before then getting to season 1. Season 1 to 5 is planned out, and we have a team of 15 ready to execute. But right now, I'd love to meet a co-founder to serve as a CTO, and then some advisors and mentors around me with experience.
Quickly, you might want to, I don't know if you know the plug and play folks, but they might be interested in this. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a
Mark,
question.
you forgot to introduce me. This is where I am actually coming from. So we do everything from ground up. So I'll take this opportunity, Elias. So we are a venture studio. We onboard, ideas to startups and then build everything from ground up. You should reach out to me. I'll send you a personal note and also in the group chat. So Mark, you would like to say anything? Yesterday we met in the Garden Grove event.
Satya could potentially be your like CTO team, you know, that can build it out. So that's what he's basically offering. You should at least get on a call with him and see if there's anything there. Any other comments or questions?
I did have a question. Just quickly, what are you actually selling? Is it a product? Is it an experience? Is it a subscription?
So the first stop of the bigger vision, it's a much bigger vision, but the first stop is creating an experience that you would drop into your Oculus headset or your PlayStation VR headset. So it's a virtual reality experience. That's the first step of a much bigger vision. Yeah.
Meet Eli in the chat. Up next is Thomas.
Yeah, hello. So I'm Thomas Hong, serial entrepreneur, founder and CEO of 6 companies. And I've raised money from angels, VCs, and corporations. So in the past meetings, I've also identified some factors that cause some startups to fail. I've also been providing advice to help startups succeed. So today, I want to share an advice about the use of Memorandum of Understanding, MOUs, as evidence of traction for attracting professional investors. But first, I want to give advice of what not to do. I have seen some startups that have slides that show many Fortune 500 companies as business partners. This is something startups should not do, because investors are not going to believe that a startup is going to have a serious business partner with companies like Nike or Home Depot or Costco. So the thing to do is to actually show real traction. And the way to do that is for startups to talk to small and medium-sized companies to study their technology, the design, to see this mutual business interest. And these companies can be potential partners, they can be potential customers, they can be potential distributors. And some of these companies could also be your beta site testers. So if you have serious discussions with these companies and they take a very serious interest in your technology, and they have an interest in potentially being your partner or your customer, then they will agree to sign an MOU. So when you present to professional investors and you show them signed MOUs, that means these are serious companies who could be potential partners or customers that will provide revenue. This is something that has a high probability of converting to revenue. Showing a bunch of logos of Fortune 500 companies does not. So that's my advice. Do not try to impress people with big company logos. Try to show them real agreements that are signed by both parties that could become real business. Thank you. Oh,
Thomas, I love your advice that you keep giving. Please come to our after party, and I hope you'll participate on our network, the Venture Starters Network, as a contributor of wisdom, because every time Thomas opens his mouth, I always want to listen. And for all of you, if you need a mentor, Thomas has been around the block a bit, and he knows a lot. I recommend you at least talk to him. Let's move on because we're running a little bit out of time, and I'd like to get a few more pitches in. Lewis, you're up next.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, there you go. Okay.
Hi. Sorry, my connection's not the best. But so aloha, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed investors. Today I stand before you with an extraordinary opportunity that emerges from captivating the world of blockchain with a unique environment of a coffee cafe. My name is Louis Caldera, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Crypto Kenny project. We are unleashing the blockchain revolution through expert blockchain consulting services. The goal is to take this blockchain revolution service global. We're currently focusing on local hotels by transitioning their property management system onto the blockchain. Local private clubs are transitioning their membership onto the blockchain. Like, imagine a place where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee harmonizes with the excitement of the blockchain technology. This place is our revolutionary Crypto Kenny Project Cafe concept. Just to add, coffee is indeed considered the second largest sought after commodity in the world. This creates repeat customers. We are proud to bring the first ever crypto cafe to the vibrant streets of Waikiki. By joining us, you become a part of the pioneering movement, creating a dynamic hub where crypto enthusiasts, investors, and tech-savvy individuals can come together and connect and collaborate. The location is paramount. We have found a few spots of interest in the heart of Waikiki. This strategic location ensures maximum exposure to high foot traffic, a diverse customer base, and access to the thriving crypto community. This also translates to exceptional profitability and an outstanding return on your investment. There are 25,000 people that go through Waikiki every day. So this is an opportunity to seize an untapped market of crypto in this area in Hawaii. And right now we're looking, I think I'm the smallest ask. It's 15,000 to get started with 100,000 to carry us through to 2024. Thank you again. I have a lot more to say, but in the interest of time, I do have my information in the chat. Thank you again. Thank you again, Mark. Mahalo.
You're welcome. And thanks for pitching. Does anybody have any really quick comments or questions? Because I want to try and get a few more people in before the top of the hour. Although all of you are welcome to hang out and still talk about what you're doing with us. It just won't be in this exact same structure. Any other real quick comments for Lewis? Then we're going to move on. Asin, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Asin, CEO and founder of Iris. We're developing a novel biometric identification platform similar to how Apple Pay works by creating next-generation recognition hardware, specialized AI on the edge, and cloud infrastructure to help organizations and their employees and customers reduce fraud, improve privacy while saving on plastic cards and improving hygiene and convenience. Enterprise biometrics generates more than $50 billion per year, with clients mostly in healthcare, banking, and industrial sectors. We're seeing an emerging trend now with companies like Amazon One, Tencent, and Fujitsu paving the way for daily biometrics becoming a reality. What we're doing is similar to them and to Alcatraz AI, who just raised a $25 million investment. However, we offer a more secure, superior, and cost-effective technology. In addition to these benefits, our solution is more versatile and can be adapted to serve the needs of a larger variety of organizations through our platform. Currently, we have a product in late prototype phase with an impressive team of globally acknowledged experts, including people who have worked on the ISS, Mercedes automobiles, autonomous drones, NVIDIA, and more. And we also have the following traction. We have 18 pilot requests from clients, including hospitals, banks, office buildings, and industrial facilities. And we have formed preliminary partnerships with all of the leading system integrators in the region. We're looking to find more potential pilot clients and raise a $300,000 round, which should provide us with a 12-month runway for product development, marketing, and most importantly, delivering our pilot solutions to our existing pipeline.
Right. Meet everybody in the chat that's interested. I'm going to skip the Q&A so I can get a few more people in. Norman, you're up next.
Thank you. I didn't think I was going to get a shot. Oh, are there two Normans?
No, you're the Norman. Roger. Norman Rogers.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nice to meet you all. Me and my team are working on an app that boils down to this. You're 25, you're single, you're swiping right and left on a dating app, and you start to see a little icon in the top right of some people's profiles. You Google it, you learn that that icon means that person has an STD test, a recent STD test, and they got it from us. So the question is, you're 25 and single, are you more or less likely to swipe right on that person? For those of you who missed the Tinder wave, right is good, left is bad. So I'll answer the question for you. About 70% of, well, actually exactly 69%, which I know is hilarious, us being a sex tech company, of users surveyed said that they were either likely or very likely to do exactly what I just described. We've been running test ads over the last 3 weeks, and we've shown that we can get user acquisition at a cost of $1.10, which is insane because those users saw the price, and the price it retails at $169. So essentially, we're going to be selling STI tests, technically with a prescribing doctor, but our brand, I like to think, is a lot sexier than what that that verbal describes. So I'll drop the link to our website in the chat. You guys can check it out if anybody's interested in talking. We're raising money. We're going to raise another 200,000-300,000. It's all going to go to ad spend. We have enough money to finish the build already. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Norman. Callie, you're up next.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for hosting a tech night. And for my buddy Blake Wind, I'm so glad to see you. We missed you, and that you're my favorite tech bro. And I thought of you when Mark said he was doing this night. So one of the things that I do as an agency, we're an equity marketing agency. My business partner and I have been doing tech launches for over 18 years. If you want to launch and get to go-to-market strategies where you get user-generated content, acquisition of users, downloads, press exposure, and also angel dollar preparedness, please reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also email me directly at unpreserved@gmail.com. My background in tech is pretty extensive. Our agency at one time was focused on Girls Who Code as a B corporation, but now we've shifted to the Moms First Marshall Plan for Moms initiative that Reshma, the initial founder of Girls Who Code, has decided to do. So with this platform, I want to tell every single person that Moms First is really, really important, that Girls Who Code already created a pipeline, a workforce for generations of young women in tech. We want to continue helping women. And I, as an agency, as a B corporation, a percentage of all of our money goes to Reshma's new initiative. So feel free to reach out. Have a great night.
Thanks. Up next, Bruce.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Happy to be here. I'll make it quick. How many of you have tried to make plans with family or friends or been in a city unknown and struggled to find a place to go? How many times have you thought, I want to go somewhere with good energy, great ambience, a cool crowd, et cetera, et cetera? Maybe you want somewhere with a big crowd and loud music. Maybe you're looking to avoid the crowds and want something that's better suited for the family. When you find yourself here, you probably go to Google or Yelp. These platforms have their benefits. Google tells you if a spot is busy or not, hour by hour, day by day. Yelp provides user ratings of a spot based on one or two biased interactions. Well, sure. But how do you see what's really happening now? How do you find the right spot for the moment? Introducing Which a fully integrated app that brings real-time video feeds of bars, clubs, restaurants, and entertainment venues so you can see which spot is right for you. Which is also the place to quickly access your most frequently used apps and favorite social or virtual spots like Snapchat, TikTok, Venmo, Uber, even venture out into III. Hey, venture starters. Which is the one-stop spot for all your spots. And with monetization paths like Secure Spot, In the Spot, Next Spot, Which is set to revolutionize how we choose where to go. So investors, Which is looking for a cash infusion to take off. Structure and terms are negotiable. We have an empty spot at the board table, and no doubt Which is the right spot for you. Thank you.
Okay, that was a great pitch. I just want to say there was a lot of energy. It was clever. You weren't reading your script. That was great, Bruce. You know, everybody that's pitching, take notice. That's a way of getting our attention. Matthew, I apologize to all those that have raised your hand. We're going to run out of time, but I do invite you to the after party. There'll be an opportunity for you to still introduce yourself at the after party. Matthew, go ahead.
Oh, wow, I get in. This is great. Second meeting, first pitch. So thanks for the opportunity. As a leader of an organization, we are often faced with critical business decisions. How do you make the best data-driven decision for your business? And I've seen cases as a CIO where outdated or incorrect data has led to costly mistakes, even million-dollar mistakes. So that's why we created Nirvana by Distilled Data. Nirvana is an iPaaS solution that helps you have the correct data available at the right time. Nirvana enables you to make informed and confident decisions that boost your bottom line and it grows your business. With Nirvana, you can connect to business systems such as NetSuite, HubSpot, Salesforce, and load that data into databases such as Snowflake, SQL, Yellowbricks, Postgres, and Vertica. Easily extract and load data using a no-code drag and drop interface. What other industry-leading solutions take 2 days to do, we do in 2 hours. So our go-to-market focus is NetSuite, because I've used many of the integration tools on the market. They're all really slow, overly complicated, and really expensive. So we've developed a lightning fast NetSuite interface that no one can compete with. NetSuite has 33,000 customers. A go-to-market model is to earn 1% of those customer base, which is 33 million in revenue. And that's just the beginning. Our Nirvana roadmap includes business systems such as Microsoft Business Central, integrating AI, and more automation around data preparation and data validation, which is really important if you're doing this extracting and loading stuff. We have a product that's been in the market. We have revenue. We have customers. The product is tested, continues to be developed and worked on every single day. Our goal is to grow our business. And to achieve this, we are looking for a strategic partner that can support us with resources, expertise, and connections, specifically in sales and marketing. Mark, just like you said, we need someone that can help us make those phone calls. So with that, what used to take developers now takes Nirvana. Thank you for your time.
I'm interested in actually having a one-on-one with you and learning more. We'll have to learn more as a community at the next event. And I apologize to everybody who's still in the queue. I'm unfortunately gonna pull a favoritism thing here because Jody, who I is so happy to see that Jody is here tonight. Jody's company, I'm aiming to own equity in, and so I'm gonna pull her out as the last one to pitch tonight. And everybody else, you're gonna have to participate in the after party, which is gonna go on for about an hour. Jody, you're our last of the evening. Go ahead. You're gonna have to go on, you're gonna have to unmute.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting to be on.
No, I realize that, and I'm sorry, but I have a strong emotional attachment to you, Yanni, and the company.
Thanks. Well, maybe we'll do some updates in the after party, but just hello, everyone. Let me let you know that I'm here to say that most of us are in business to make money. So why would you just give money away for no reason at all? Well, commercial property owners do just that at the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions even per year. And did you know that after transportation, hotels, multifamilies are the highest draws of energy on the power grid? 100-room property uses the same amount of energy as 1,000 homes in 1 year. With energy being the second highest cost and continuing to skyrocket, these properties are lining the pockets of the utility companies. There are a few options to upgrade and modernize aging commercial properties that don't require expensive and extensive renovations until now. I'm Jody Darrows. I'm co-founder of prop tech innovation company Circ Plus, a family of intelligent automation and robotic systems, reducing energy costs and lowering carbon emissions with plug-and-play technology. We are helping properties put the profit back into their pocket and finally step into the 21st century to modernize with a unified platform. If we just look at one of our verticals, the patented enterprise smart room solution, it's an affordable, retrofittable solution that installs in 60 minutes or less with no downtime or lost revenue. Helps reduce energy costs by up to 40%. This is major with the skyrocketing costs of energy these days. Our team is comprised of rock stars who have developed over 300 technology solutions, resulting in billions in revenue. So now it's time to make billions for our company and team and investors, some of whom may be in this room. We have multiple revenue sources that diversify our business and growth. We're generating revenue, have 6 secured major method and utility patents, and have a global pipeline and deep innovation roadmap. We're positioning to exit in 5 years, and we'd love to talk to you more. I'll put my information in the chat if it's going to stay up, Mark. I don't know. Is that going to just stay?
It is going to stay up. We're not leaving this event. So definitely put it in the chat. And just everybody, their products are awesome. I'm helping to build the team, and this company is going to be very valuable. They've got something extraordinarily important. So I'm gonna turn the event over to Eric Harris, and Eric is gonna take us into what we've been calling the after party or the hangout, and we still are experimenting. I hope you'll hang around. I think it'll be very valuable. Those of you who are raising your hand, I'm gonna unraise. I'm gonna, so that we can sort of go back to a different formula here, where we may have you raise your hand again to participate in Eric's event. I will still be here, but I'm going to take a back seat and a well-deserved break because this was a lot of work for the last couple hours with no sleep. But I want to thank all the amazing founders that hang in there and do what you all do. I hope you're enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying being part of that journey with you all. You're all amazing. Eric is also equally an amazing guy, exactly who our community needs. Eric, you're in charge. I'm going to actually go on mute myself right now.
Thanks, Mark, for such a great event too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mark. And this is a huge opportunity. So first of all, you can't do it without other people. That's what collective community is about. So my name is Eric Harris. I'm a community builder. I do a lot of other things as well, but most importantly, I enjoy working with founders, working with startups, working with people just to connect people to each other and to help you all just get done what you need done. And in the process, you help the better world, help impact the community. So welcome to the after party. It's the first time we're doing it here, which is great for us to going into the community. Might call it the hangout. I think the hangout's probably a little better than the after party. We'll see how that goes. But Jake, Francisco, there's a few of you all in here that I've already pinged. I will ask you to go on mute so we can kind of chat. And Jake, I just saw you eat something, so just called you out on that. So one of the things that we like to do in this second half of is actually talk about what we just experienced. So it's a bunch of people pitching. You're hearing different things, and then this time we went around and we got some feedback. What are we hearing? How are we hearing it? And there's a lot of different things that we've seen and discussed. I want to distill those into a couple of different notes. First of all, if you're presenting into the community, something like this, Mark has always said it's like a beauty pageant. It legitimately is. As an investor, if you can't catch their attention really quick, catch my attention really quick, and who you are, what you're doing, the goal isn't to get a check. You won't get a check in 2 minutes unless you're really good. And if that, you should have already had your money, but you won't get a check in 2 minutes. So don't try to get a check in 2 minutes. Try to get a concept across to get the next conversation happening. And it happens in the chat. Same thing happens in the community. And so first thing I want to do is kind of invite a couple of people to come in. What did you all think about the pitches tonight? These are tech pitches, but overall, I will say from when we started doing a lot of things within the community and kind of tracking this thing a little bit through, the pitches have gotten a little bit better. And there's some people that are repeaters, which are great because you're practicing and that's all about it. But what do you all think? And you can come off mute. This is engaging conversations. A lot of people, so if you hear somebody else talking, kind of pause, and I'll try to see who's getting off mute as well. But what did you all think? And feel free to kind of jump in. Monica, I see you here. John, go for it. I saw you get off mute first.
I think that everybody should bring a martini with them, and then it would be just a little bit better, Eric.
I would agree. You got yours, Monica. I like it. No, that's good. I got the water. Hey, what you do? Actually, we'll work on that. So we'll coordinate this for our next one. Everyone bring a drink or something. We'll do a cheers really quick. Absolutely, I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, who was speaking?
John, good to meet you again. Yesterday we had a meeting, right? Mark and also John, you remember me?
Absolutely.
Eric, actually, we were waiting for you. Actually, Mark was trying to reach out to you so that he wants me to meet you for the last week also we were trying.
Yes, we will connect. Sorry, it's been a little hectic and busy with a few things going on, but it's definitely something like for within the community. If you are in the community, you're a service provider, I ask you to reach out to me. Please do so. Add value. Go in there. If you see people asking questions, go in there and answer the questions. Don't sell. I will actually say that it's one of the things that's probably a big pet peeve of mine. I've seen people literally go in and just paste blob. Here's what we do. Contact us. That doesn't do anything. People can Google that. Have a conversation. Figure out who it is you get to know, because they may not be the right customer for you. And it's the same thing with if you're a founder looking for customers. If you go in and you just sell your thing, you don't even know who you're selling to, especially if you're selling to an investor. That investor, and this goes back to what Mark says and what other investors say as well. If you go to the wrong investor, it's almost pitching a cold call, and you're probably going to get a no. And if we look at statistics, a lot of founders, they say you got to meet 100 investors, 150 investors, pitch. Well, a lot of that comes down because you're pitching to the wrong people. It's the same thing with customers. You have to understand how to find the right customers. And that is not selling, that's asking, engaging, having a conversation. When you do that, you find out a lot of information, one, about the product that you're offering, also the pain point of what it is you're trying to solve, and getting closer to that product market fit. And that's something that I'm very passionate about as well. But a lot of times we as founders, and I've been guilty of it myself, we go in and we try to sell somebody on the solution without getting to know their pain. And oftentimes interviewing and looking at it from that perspective can help. Does anyone want to do a pitch? Francisco, I see you're off mute, so go for it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking about doing a pitch. I was thinking about talking about today because it was quite interesting. I got a bit unlucky because I came in early, but I disconnected in the middle, so I got kicked off the queue. As a pitch, I'm just going to say we're implementing AI into cybersecurity, and we've got already a product built. It's really cool. We can detect hackers before they do their hacks, before they finish their attacks. So if you're looking to invest in cybersecurity and AI, you can contact me. I've put my contact in the chat a few times, but I'll put it back in. But what I found interesting about this, about today, in compared to other days, was the 2 minutes extra we had for the Q&A. Lots of the pitches I've heard before kind of changed my view of them, because once we got a bit of back and forth, we could get into like knowing about the person a little bit. The one with Aja was quite interesting that I found like we all kind of learned a bit more about who the people are here. So that was pretty fun, pretty different, but I liked it. So maybe we could do these more often. So that's cool.
We are
I really like your comments. The thing is, with a lot of the people that pitching, these same pitches are being done in Michigan, Florida, New York, England, and whatever, and they don't understand what's going on, externally. And one of the things that Mark and I talked about yesterday was putting together a group where somebody that's working on this widget could also connect with other people around the world and collaborate, rather than contend. And I've talked to venture capital people, I've talked to mentors, and they like the idea of being able to do research really quickly on who's in that space.
Yes. Yeah, and so that's the power of the community. Because if you think about it, the community is online, and we literally have people from Europe. We have some people from Australia that are already in our community, and that's one of the powerful things about it is if you're having that conversation or you're asking those questions and you're engaging in just chatting, and there's a couple of people on this call that I've connected with in the community. I had no idea what they were doing. We're just having a conversation, find out they have another interest about something different. And I'm able to connect them with someone just because of that common interest. So that is something like, it's people. Jake's one of the guys, like we connected on LinkedIn. It happens. I'm telling you, it happens easier than you think it does. And it's not a cold call pitch anymore. There's an introduction to somebody. Bruce is the same way. It's an introduction to somebody really quick because you talk about people. It's human capital first. I
want to say quickly, I have to go. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to send my info in the chat. If anyone's looking for cybersecurity, we're top. So goodbye, everyone.
And Francisco is in the community as well. So you can connect with him there also. Go ahead, Sakis.
So we are one of a kind venture studio. That's what I'd like to introduce ourselves. I've got about 30 years of experience in delivering solution to 74 Fortune 500 clients and also about 600 plus small, medium, large enterprise. So we are uniquely positioned as a venture studio and accelerator where we build hardware, software, and anything in AI, extended reality, entire works. If I just disable my background, and you can. So we are into robotics, we're into electromechanical, we onboard IDSA startups, and then we do everything from ground up. So this is one of the devices what we made for a pharmacist. This is a smart pill dispenser. This dispenses medicines on time. So this is the kind of, and it comes in this kind of a cartridges. This is one example I'm just telling you. We built 24 startups from ground up in 30 months time. 18 are fully done, 6 are still under development. So this is what I'd like to just introduce. And through your community, we like to extend this help, and we invest and we co-create companies. That's our specialty, Eric. in this connection. I'd like to actually wanted to meet you. But I mean, I couldn't find you yesterday. We were there whole afternoon, me and Mark.
Yep.
We went in Garden Grove in LA.
Yep. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. And go to Sarah real quick, and then I'm gonna say something else real quick. Sarah, go for it.
Hey everyone, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Sarah. I'm really passionate about startups in VC, love being a part of this community. I just wanted to give some quick feedback from the pitches that I saw today. I think one main thing that was really interesting was adding the question aspect, and having met with many founders and heard their pitches, I would suggest to founders that you really prepare how you're going to answer questions and do it concisely. With only 2 minutes, you need to understand exactly what you're doing and how you're going to go forward. So for example, if I say, what's your value proposition? Answer it in 1 sentence. Don't spend like 2 minutes answering that, because if you can't do that now, it's going to be even harder while pitching to investors.
Kelly, you're off mute, Kelly.
Right now. Hi,
you're off
I'm
mute.
sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You're good.
I have
You're good.
two under
You're good.
6 years old. I didn't touch it. Okay, bye.
Hey, Eric.
Go for wait, who just said
That was
something?
David.
Okay. Hey, I
Techies,
can't see
David.
you.
Oh,
though.
what happened? I disappeared.
But
I'm
hold on one
this
second,
tiny
David.
little person in the background.
Yes,
I don't know
very
what
little.
happened to me. I'll fix that in a minute. Yeah, I thought I echo what Sarah was just saying, but one of the things that always catches my attention when somebody does a really great pitch is they make it entertaining and they connect with everybody on the problem statement first. And a lot of the pitches do that without entertainment, or they try to be entertaining about the solution without having hooked me into the problem statement. So, and this is, by the way, this is something I need to improve on myself. So this isn't coming from you, Boris. This is coming from, I recognize how much I need to make my own pitches more entertaining, not so much the problem statement, but the entertaining part. So, because I get drawn into those pitches.
Yeah, I would agree. Wolf, go for it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brother Wolf. I am new to the group. Mercedes is a friend of mine, and she invited me to come and sit in after talking and trying to help me navigate this. And I am shocked. I'm excited and frightened all at the same time. So let me just get that out there first. I basically have an IP that is new. It's patented, and it's different. It's different. It's something that helps with assessing and providing help for diagnosis and interacting with your clinician as well as an everyday thing. So it's not really a pitch. I don't want to do that right now. I'm really not prepared to do that. But just to say something real quick about myself, I'm a redeemed addict and I'm a redeemed career criminal. So what that means is that I'm struggle a lot with drugs and pushed into different areas of criminality to maintain a habit that cost me a good chunk of my life. And no one understood me, whether from the Christian background, from the church, nor from the clinical or the clinical factors that are usually out there. So with all of that, I kind of came up with this AI that would help be able to interact a little bit better. Most of the clinical measures that are out there right now are designed from a European standard that has been, passed on. Nothing wrong with it, but there's such a diversity out there that it kind of misses some of the things that are really important about different minorities. So I have something that's very interesting. It's just a point of making sure that I come across the right way and get people to know me, know the problem already. We already know what that is: addiction, mental illness, and so on.
I can help you. We can help with. I mean, so that's one of the things about the community, and I mean that's why you're here. So I appreciate you sharing that. And part of it. So if you think about it, you took about 2.5 minutes. That's almost a pitch. That's almost the time we get, right? So if we start to think about those things, and this is something that, sorry, I'm looking down, I'm looking at the screen versus the camera. But if you think about those things, a lot of times we think about how do we communicate to a person? Like if you were in a room with someone, how would you communicate? How would you come across? And what are you trying to share with them, right? And there are moments when it's appropriate to share facts, numbers. There's a couple people that was just numbers. There are other people that went straight to a story, but it took too long to get to what is the problem? What are you solving? What is your solution? What do you need? And really quick, clear, simple. We got a community, want to have founders actually get better at being founders, startup companies get funded and actually get into the community. Super simple. That's what we're trying to do. Really simple. Very simple. If
You say it's simple.
to do that.
Practice. Yes, sir. Understood.
It takes a ton of practice, The other thing is, as founders, sometimes, and I will say this, we have great ideas. Kurt Walker said this. There's a couple people, Jake said this before. Professor David said this before. A lot of customers first. Go talk to, I put the number at like maybe 50. Go talk to 100 customers is about the average. If you aren't talking to a lot of people, you don't practice to get that narrative right. And then two, sometimes we're solving problems that we think has a lot of money associated with. And this isn't for you, Brother Wolf, at all. It's just in general. We're trying to solve a problem because we say, oh, this could potentially be worth X. And you may not have the expertise. It might not be really a passion for you, etc. And being a founder, being of a startup, an entrepreneur in this space, in this world, in this time is hard. It is hard. It's hard. It actually is harder than it used to be in some ways, just with a lot of things that are moving around. And so I say that because if you aren't really in tune and in passionate about your why are you doing this? Bringing out the why. If that's not there, it's going to come out that it's not there, and it's going to be delivered that way. And so I say that because when you start to present yourself, I can present about the community because I'm super passionate about it. Like a lot of people. Somebody was speaking. A lot of people. Satya, I think you went off mute. A lot of people they see me up at night. I'll be up middle of the night, whatever. And this is even my day job, but I'm passionate about it. I like it. I love it. This is what I live and breathe, and it comes across when I talk about it. And that's one of the things when you're presenting, understanding how to start to present your idea. Have you validated your idea? Because the more you validate your idea, the more you start to learn how to pitch it, how to understand it. And what Sarah and a couple of people were saying as well, you start to understand how to frame it to the right person. This audience is broad. There was a question in there. I think Monica and someone else asked a question around how many investors do we have versus founders? I actually want to know. And some of the investors that are in here aren't going to raise their hand and say they're an investor. I get that because they just want to remain anonymous, just kind of watch. But we have a large group of investors that come every week. You don't know who they are. And some of the founders could be other people that can join and say, hey, I'm doing something similar. Let's join forces, et cetera. Those things happen. When you present it as if you're passionate about it. Because if you don't, and there's people today that didn't, it's hard to get on board with someone that's not passionate about their own idea. And so I want to kind of bring that in. It's really difficult to do that. So something that you all should be aware of. There's people with questions. So Ernest, you go first. I see your hand.
Thanks, Eric. So I was thinking along the lines of the value of this community and the space, and the like some of the earlier conversation in this hangout session is related to making those pitches better, or what goes into forming up even the knowledge underneath your pitch. And I kind of wanted to reiterate two things. One is that customer discovery, learning what your potential customer would do. You can find a lot of coursework and supportive supportive entrepreneurial programs in almost every community that will teach you how to do that customer discovery, how to ask questions and wait for the answer. Don't just ask a series of checkmark questions to see if you can confirm what you think. You really need to learn where you might be right or wrong. One of the ways that I did that was taking a really scary, brave step and rolling an electric motorcycle into Daytona Bike Week and taking it and showing it off to people. I thought I was going to get punched in the face half the time, right? But a lot of people came up to me, and that's where I learned about how the perception of a motorcycle rider is so wrong from the real motorcycle rider. Yes, there's fellas on here that really love their Harley Davidson and the noise and the sound, but there are a lot of people that love their motorcycle for the light show they can put together. A lot of other people love their motorcycle for the fact that they can go long distances without anybody bothering them, and you get what is called wind therapy. I even met a fella in Daytona that had lived for the last 35 years on his motorcycle and his little trailer and his Chihuahua. Like, seriously, no land ownership, no nothing. So you don't know what your customer is until you really talk. And I want to encourage people to do that. Yeah, thanks, Jake.
Yeah, because it's so important what you said, and I apologize for interrupting. It's just so incredibly important. How do you know that, right? And the answer is because you talk to them, right?
Yeah,
And
I've talked to like probably 2,000 riders, not just 100.
Yeah, yeah. In your pitch, I wanted to comment on that. We just didn't have time, but someone had asked you about the noise, and you gave an excellent rebuttal. And I know for a fact that rebuttal came because you talked to your customers. And I thought that rebuttal was flawless. So first of all, I want to say kudos to you, but I want everyone else to realize that's the type of conversation that you have to have with customers. And when you do have those conversations, they start to come up in investor conversations as well, or pitch conversations as well, I should say.
Absolutely.
The response wasn't emotional. It was backed up by your research. So if you can give objective answers and not emotional answers, it just validates it that much more.
You know, but Jake, I was the one that mentioned the noise, and my Vespa, it was tremendous. I had this little Vespa that sounded like a big Harley. The thing is that you can circumvent those problems, you know, whether it be something that you add on, an amplifier or whatever, you know, whatever people want. But the people that I ride with out here in California, they love noise. They call my bike the Singer sewing machine because it's very quiet.
but it's true, like, and to the point, like, everyone on here, we're all selling something, whether it be your idea, yourself, your services, you're all selling something. But connecting to the customer is so important because it helps you understand. So I'm going to do this as a true testimony to this. The community platform, before, so I've done communities before, so that's nothing new to me. And I've grown them before, and because it's about people, connecting people to people. Before I launched that part of the platform to kind of like sit behind these events, I talked to over 30 people in chat, one-on-ones, connected to LinkedIn, polling and asking questions. Is it something that people want? How would you like to engage? What does it look like? Questions and answers. And each step of the way, I've pinged, and most of you all that are here, that have been here, know I've pinged you and asked you questions, and I've brought people in from LinkedIn and I've asked questions, because if you don't connect with people that you're serving, you may present an offering that they don't want. And that doesn't mean you're going to get it right the first time. It builds and it grows. It's called alpha testing, beta testing, prototyping, etc. But if you understand that process, and you stay true to the process, one, bootstrap it. You don't need to raise money to do it oftentimes. Two, you get traction that's crazy. And when you go out there and you say, okay, I'm at the point where I need to scale and I do need funding, you have so much behind you that an investor's like, absolutely. You don't have to then pitch them. You just show them. And it's a whole lot easier to show someone success than to try to give someone an idea and say it could be successful. And that's something that a lot of times we miss as founders, is we go after we see the people that are in Newsweek or in TechCrunch or in all these other things, and look what they've done. And we see them land successfully, but we don't understand the process, the untold stories of how they got to where they are. And a lot of the successful ones been running under the ground. They call them in stealth mode, or they've been bootstrapping for years often before they launch. And they have so much momentum behind them. There are some that do come out and they go raise money on an idea. That's not a bad thing at all. But in many of our cases, the majority of our cases, I would say, it's not funding first. It should be customer first, solving the pain first. And then from there, you get that traction. I was meeting with a guy yesterday, had everything ready, $200,000 sunk into it, everything ready. And I was like, how many of you sold? He has 50 units. How many of you sold? None. Go sell them. Well, I'm waiting. No, go sell them. Even if you sell them at a discount, get those early customers, because the moment you do that, you're going to learn through that process. That's the biggest thing. The learnings you get from selling something is awesome. The feedback you get from people using it is awesome. And then if you do need money at that point, you go to someone and say, how many have you sold? Well, I've sold 50, and here's what they're saying about it. Here's what they like and don't like about it. You already have a game plan for what's next. And that is often something that is missing from the conversations and the pitches that do happen. So I'll calm down on that. I don't want to preach, but Treya, go for it. Sorry, I'm randomly picking people.
No, I enjoy every single word. That is fantastic. I mean, your energy and the way you communicate is awesome. I love it. Thank you. Learned so much today. Appreciate the community. This is my second time. So I'm a newbie, but hey, let's get into it. Hello. I'm Treya Tobert. I'm a 5-time founder with 3 exits and the founder and CEO of Powerballs. Have you ever struggled with exercise and fitness? I have, and that's a lifetime story for me. And that's why we developed Powerballs. So imagine turning every step, every movement into a moment of exercise. We developed a firmware app, coaching platform, and that powers our smart activewear, combining electric muscle stimulation and biometric sensors. Our beta users loved our first generation product and can't wait to use the second generation. We partnering with a licensed manufacturer to deliver our proprietary activewear made to order within 5 days and provide a no-cost solution for our users using government-funded health programs with a revenue of $650 per user per year, targeting the 100 million Americans that struggle with prediabetes and searching for help to get them healthier and fit. For everyone else, we offer an accessible monthly subscription, and we already have resale revenue partners on board and launching a pilot with 100 users in August. We're raising $1 million on a safe, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so anybody, I have a couple of questions. Well, I have a lot of questions, but anybody else have any questions on that? Sarah, Dr. David, anybody got questions?
Real
Go ahead,
quick.
Jake, go for it.
You said you had a couple of exits. Were they in this space? Were they different type of, like, what's your background?
Wow, fantastic question. No, I'm an entrepreneur. That's in my blood. I had business development and sales. It's my background. But I have experience for 5 years experience in the industry as a consultant for a European electric muscle stimulation manufacturer. That's my background.
Okay, that's very relevant.
Brought that product successfully to the US and through FDA. So that's the industry experience.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's very relevant, and that is often helpful. And what happens from that is you give the context of what you're doing to where you are, and then it's like, hey, and there's a question of, tell me more. How are you the person that's qualified to do this? What's giving you your expertise in that area? And those are things that come after the fact. But thank you for not jamming all that in, because that would dilute what you're trying to do as well. Someone else said they had a question. I didn't kind of catch who that was.
You muted me.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, so my name's Jeff Cohen. I'm with My Life ID. I'll do my 15-second elevator pitch in a minute. But here's my question. I'm an experienced entrepreneur. I've raised almost $50 million over my 30-some-odd years in business. I run into investors, especially angel investors, that don't often know what they're asking. They just know it's a term they should use. How do you recommend to the founders as to how to deal with that? I'll give you a perfect example. I had an angel investor last week ask me if I was a SaaS or a B2B business. Those are mutually exclusive terms. And I wrestled for like an hour as to how to write an answer to him, as to not to embarrass him, but to help him understand my business and educate him at the same time.
So you said that he asked you if you were a SaaS or B2B?
Yeah.
Those that you said are
Mutually
mutually exclusive.
I can cover this one, man. Yes, and it's always yes, and
I agree.
Also this.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and sometimes, so the part of it is, so it's, I mean, it depends on if it was an email or something like that, then do some research on the person. That's probably one of the easiest things, find out a little bit more about them and then kind of tailor it to what they do, because that may give you some information about who they are and why they're asking that question. If it's a face-to-face, maybe going back and asking the question, be like, what distinction is that for you? And sometimes it really takes a stepping outside of the moment. It's easy for me to say this now because I'm not pitching anything, but the practice happens when you're not in the moment. If you think about it, most athletes practice before the game, before the big event, et cetera. The practice happens before you're in that moment of what are the questions, talking to other people, interacting with customers, interacting with people that you're not trying to sell or get something from. That's where your practice happens, or even doing it in the mirror and saying, here's some objections. risk mitigation is perfect. I'm dropping different nuggets because it's coming in my head.
Yeah,
Risk mitigation. Investors want to know, how are you going to mitigate the risk for a certain thing? And oftentimes the questions come because they're wondering, how are you going to mitigate this risk? So if you are doing your due diligence on yourself, which we all should as founders, and you're presenting something, you should already have a Rolodex of things or an appendix of things that you've already said, if this question comes up, here's my response. And it's not to say you know everything. That's the worst thing you can do. But if you've already thought through it, say, well, here's what I've thought through. Here's what I think can do. Would love to hear your input as well. Something that Mark says all the time. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I ended up having to do a poker face and then just try to like extract, like paraphrase to get to the bottom, but it was weird. I mean, those are the questions that throw me off. But just to give you a quick rundown. So the average person has 135 different medical records. If you use wearables and you use apps, you're looking at more like 300 to 400 medical records. The only way for you to actually help your doctors help you is to have a system like MyLifeID to aggregate all of your medical records from all your devices, doctors, telehealth systems, and put it together so that they can really leverage your expense in healthcare. And that's what we're doing. We're aggregating and putting together these comprehensive patient profiles. So when you use all these different apps and telehealth services, you don't have to remember to tell your other doctors. It's all documented, aggregated, and in a nice, serviceable SaaS platform. So that's what we're doing.
Got it. Does anyone want to comment on that? Tanny, I know you're in here. I think you're still in here. I saw you in here. I had to scroll through to find you. If you are, definitely would love to get you to speak on a couple of things as well. She may have gone. Darn. I guess I'm holding the fort.
Oh
Sarah,
yeah,
you got any
I'm
thoughts?
here,
Oh,
Eric.
there you go. Hey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought today was interesting, different. Love the Q&A. I think there was a lot of really good feedback, at the immediate feedback. Some of it, I'd say more pointed than usual. And it'll be interesting to see, are our founders interested in that pointed feedback? Because to this point, it's been pretty benign. I feel like it was a little different today,
Okay.
But I like this founders forum because it's a great opportunity to give the more honest feedback, right? So I think there's a lot of diversity of voices here. So, but I think the community is growing more sophisticated, which is really fun to see. And I think a lot of people are getting interconnections and reaching out for their expertise. And it's becoming a good mentoring organization, which I like. And
Okay.
I think it's not just an investment organization. I think it's far beyond that. And I really like the
Absolutely.
way some of that's evolving.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. And that's the value of it. And that's the value of what we want to bring. And Jeff, to what you even said on what you're trying to do and what we often find, and like I said, I've done this myself. So I'm not even gonna it's been something I've been guilty of as well, is we have to you want to speak to communicate confidence, but you don't want to use so much you need all of this or we do everything, because it's like, really though. And especially I've had this happen. I do product market fit a lot. I used to run due diligence for a couple of investors. When you know the space and someone doesn't know that you know that space and they come and pitch you on something and you know that space, you know when someone's BSing you because they haven't done the due diligence or they haven't done the work. As a founder, be confident in what you know, but be more confident that there are holes that you don't know, and because you don't know everything. And when you're pitching an investor, if you pitch someone and you've done your work on understanding who you're pitching, then you come across as someone that is humble but confident, not arrogant and cocky. And just, Jeff, this is not for you at all. Not for you at all. So I just want to say that.
You know me very well.
Yeah, this is not you at all.
Eric, can I make a
I want to say
comment?
this. I'm not talking about Jeff. But
Can I
in
make a
general,
comment, Eric? There's a lot of investors or people that are looking to things that invest in that they're very myopic, and they really don't understand the largest scope of what an investor, an innovator would be able to provide. So they make assessment on the wrong things without sitting down and looking at what are all the tentacles where a particular project could take them. And if they don't identify that it really fits, well, then maybe find different ways how to split it up with different companies.
So what is your thought on not accepting that investor? Because I turn down investors that I feel are going to take too much of my time explaining things to them.
Yeah. So, and I'll get to George. I'll get to you in a second. That's so the thing is, every relationship is a relationship. As a founder, every relationship is a relationship. It's a give just as much as it is a take. And you have to be smart about who you get in, they call it get in bed with, that, you know, who you go to business with. As a co-founder, as a team, how good are you at bringing people? How good are you at attracting the right team? How coachable are you? Investors look for that all the time. But then also, and I can say this from experience, I had an investor come at me. I wasn't even looking for an investor for a project. And he came, he started grilling me on things. And I have a patent attorney from one of the largest companies in the nation doing something for me on a project. And he told me that that person didn't know what they were doing and that the patent wouldn't succeed. When the person came to me and said, I want to write it because I believe in what you're doing and I believe that I can get it across the line. Let's go figure. And he's doing it for free. And the investor told me that I was wasting my time. Well, that investor is someone I'm not interested in because he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And he ruined a relationship because he was cocky on what he thought he knew from his experience without getting to know me first and understanding the history of what I was already going through and who I was working with. Do not do that. Like, you're working with humans at the end of the day. And that's one of the biggest things that I say. It's a relationship that writes the check. It's a person, not a machine. It's not AI. It's not numbers. It's a person that's going to write a check. And that check could be a customer, or it can be a partner, or it can be an investor. It's still a person at the end of the day. And when we start at that point and look at humans as humans and start to interact at that level first, we land a lot differently. You start to think things a lot differently. You start to care a lot differently about what you're saying, how you're saying it, who you're saying it to. And so that's something I preach that all the time, because I find that we forget that because we're so caught into the moment of doing. But I'll get off of that. George, go for it.
Real quick, Eric, can I just explain?
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
So Jeff, if you are finding your investor intros from other founders, you will quickly begin to mitigate that problem that you're having of investors potentially wasting your time, right? And the same thing is true for investors too. If I'm finding founders through other founders, I'm going to start to find higher quality founders, right? Absolutely. So what I want you to do, and for everyone else here as well, is to continue to connect with other founders who have already successfully raised, so that you can get intros from their investors or their circle of investors. Same thing's true for us. We a lot of the times that's how we find quality deal flow, is through other funded founders.
Yeah, it's called the network effect. And so, for example, if Jake brought someone to me, I'm validating the person. Now I have to do my own due diligence, but I'm validating part of it through the relationship I have with Jake, and vice versa. He's going to assume that I at least did some level of value checking before I bring the person to them. But George, go ahead. I know you've been waiting. Sorry about
that. Thank you so much, Aris. Let me just acknowledge the fact that we're doing a commendable job. I think I'm one of the few early members who joined probably in the second or so session from last year. And there's something you mentioned that I found extremely important, because I link investors and business owners. And one of the most interesting things I found out is when people kind of come with what I call book knowledge to pitch. And so somebody expects you to know everything. And I don't think that even professors who are here really know everything. When you graduate in a university, you're given power to read and write. So you continue doing research. It is of no interest to me to know all those terminologies, but more importantly, I think I would want to know the problem that the individual is resolving. And I think that is more important. So precisely what I'm saying is that let's just be human. We are not machines. Just explain yourself simply, seek clarification as I posted in the chat. And then beyond that, I think I've also seen another area of misinformation. We are in a global economy right now, and I will talk for myself, where people actually wonder, how does George from Kenya link investors in the US, in Europe, or other Western Europe with stuff? Well, it is possible that we can do business all around the world. So the first thing we are seeking to do is that we are in a space where we can do business with anyone across the globe. So otherwise, because of the interest of time, thank you so much for this after party. And more importantly, Mark, thank you for the energy and the rest of the community. Yes, thank you. Do have a good day.
Thank you, George. And George, let's connect. I got a friend of mine who just invited me out to Kenya to do some stuff. So, and there's a growing audience of things happening out there. So let's connect. And that's, again, this is what we're supposed to do. You find out stuff from people and you then figure out and put it in your Rolodex, hold it in the back. You never know, especially if you're around other founders, who you may connect. I've actually connected more people because of that. So it's, yeah, I'm always on the move. I will hit you up from every location I'm at. But it's something of value. So I want to do a plug really quick. There's a friend of mine. He's actually in the community. He's part of the Venture Starters. He's doing a research project it's for both founders and investors. It's part of his PhD. I want to say consortium or whatever, dissertation. Dissertation is what I think it is. But it's research based. So if you are an investor, I'm going to put it in the chat. Please ping me, DM me. Or link on LinkedIn. There's a big upside. Like it's just collecting information. It's super easy to do. Fill out 3 questions after you hear a pitch. It's super simple. Yeah. So just connect with me, please, because I'm trying to help him. I think he needs to get to 40 and he has about 28, 29 already. So it's not that many more to go. But if you're an angel, a VC, or a family office, it takes less than, I think, an hour of your time. But it's worthwhile because it's helping enrich like what founders need to do to pitch and things like that, but it doesn't take much of your time to do, and the data is anonymous. I don't want to oversell it. He knows a lot more about it than I do. I'm actually helping him out on it. And so it's something there. If you're an investor, please connect with me on LinkedIn.
I just
for sure.
Eric, I just
Yes.
on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Hari, are you here? Yes. Go ahead.
Hi, Harris. Great connection here. Yeah, this is a great event. One comment I want to say is there a way we can put our names so that everybody understands? Because that itself is a communication, right? So my comment is, can we do something there? So people will get some information out of that. I put my name, I will be creative. I don't know what is the most optimized way.
I'm working on that.
My company, etc. But there should be some way to present yourself there, I guess.
Yeah, I'm so working on part of that. And I know Dave Hirschfield is looking at, so that's part of one of the things that he wants to try to solve as well. So do that. I'm going to switch over. So Jonathan Freedom, he's here. So thank you. So I'm going to let him speak for a second. You got your 90 seconds to tell them what you're trying to do or just how to connect with you. And I will definitely send people your way as well. But go for it, Jonathan.
Yeah, so I'm the guy doing the research project. I posted stuff up there. You can catch me on LinkedIn. I'll put it in the chat here in a minute. But really simply, so I'm going to talk really simply about my research project, but then also some feedback on the pitch that I've gotten both as a former entrepreneur turned academic, although I think the entrepreneur is still there, and countless hours. I mean, I think over 300 hours now with investors and what they like and what they don't like about the pitch. So in terms of my research study, what I'm looking at is investor decision-making and how investors make decisions, especially early in before due diligence occurs, because due diligence is super important. But if you can't pass the basic bridge right in the beginning to get to due diligence, you're never going to get to due diligence. You'll never get the actual check. So there's little things that take place. And one of the things that we're doing is we're looking at 1 minute of an actual pitch. And what investors have told me over and over and over and over again, which applies both to the community as well as in at social events, whatever it might be. In 1 minute, you need to tell me what the problem is, build the problem, prove it's an actual problem, but then also tell me that you have a solution that can take care of that problem, but you have to validate that the problem is actually there, and then you can go further. But when you're doing that, you do need to have confidence and energy that we've talked about, but you also have to make sure you're not overconfident, because what that tells an investor is you're not coachable. Because when investors are evaluating you, a lot of entrepreneurs think of an investor as a check, and that they can give them a check and help move their company forward. But investors bring 3 things, and I'm actually reclassifying investors in my research. And the 3 things they add is capital, money, They also had social capital, which is connections to help you get in front of the people you need to get in front of, and mentorship and coaching. And if they're looking at you and they don't feel like if they feel you're overconfident or you're not confident enough, or you don't know what you're doing, you're not coachable. So therefore, why would they connect you with their friends? Because it's their relationship that they've built over a long time, which is really valuable. So you have to find a way to approach them in such a way that attracts both their rationality, the data and numbers, as well as their intuition in terms of their gut feel and that other aspect that they care about, because those are valuable relationships they built over time, and they can help you. Plus, understand, we entrepreneurs think we're super, super smart, and we are, but investors have been through the battlefield. They've avoided the landmines or they've hit them. So they can help you navigate that process. And that's where the knowledge and the mentorship comes in. So finding a way to do all that is super helpful. And one investor actually told me when we're looking at a 1-minute pitch, he's like, dude, I love that guy. And I said, why? He said, because he did all the stuff you have to do, but it was a one-way conversation. It was like that's someone who's confident, but they weren't overconfident, but they were so confident that they could have a conversation, and it wasn't a script. They had practiced so much that they got past the playbill, right? It's like if you watch a really good actor or actress on Hollywood, it's almost like you're right there having a dialogue with them, that they're not reading lines, and that's what investors want. So,
quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you selected 1 hour? If I am an investor, I would not give 1 hour of my time. I may be okay for 10 minutes, 18 minutes, 20 minutes, but I'm not sure how you decided 1 hour.
Yeah, so the reason the 1 hour is 45-minute to 1 hour interview with the investor. And the reason why is I show them 9 1-minute video clips, and then we have a dialogue. And when I looked at going when I looked at a half hour, I was only being able to show a couple clips. And then therefore I would have had to have about 100 investors, and it's been hard to get to 40. So therefore, by extending that out to an hour, and honestly, I've got really good feedback from some investors. I've got some negative pushback, obviously, but also some positive feedback there. And that's why it also allows me to go deep to look at not only the ones and zeros, but actually what's taking place. I mean, some things as simple as hand movements, right? That's a big deal, or whatever it might be. So all of those factors.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that, Harry, to the point, like why. So know your audience, but then also know the parameters. So with this being a research project, there's a particular way to optimize what you're trying to do. And it doesn't fit the bill for every investor that he wants to collect and get the feedback from. And he's fine-tuned that as he's talked to investors to realize where that sweet spot is to get the right level of information that he needs, but then also to not waste time so that he's doubling over, et cetera, et cetera. So that's, I would say he's taken his prototype, gone through a couple iterations, and landed on a good MVP. That's what it seems like to me. And therefore, yeah, it won't hit everybody. It's not meant to hit everybody, but for the ones, and I would say this, for the investors that are more interested in the ecosystem and also the value of actually understanding themselves, because it's not a one-way street. When you actually do an interview or you do something like that, learning, especially on the research, you're learning just as much as you're giving information. And for the right ones that find that value, they find the value and they give the value, and it's a mutual benefit, even if it is an interview. But to your point, I do agree that 1 hour is a long time, but hey, there are people that do, I would do it because I want to contribute to the greater good. And also I want to learn, hey, when I said this, what did you think? What have you heard from other people? Give me that feedback, even if it's anonymized or aggregated. What are other investors like me saying, et cetera? So you have that thing happening, and that's very organic, and it also comes apart like really well. So we'll go Timothy.
I just wanted to say real quick, Jonathan, I would love to do the 1 hour with you and help you with this research.
We're already booked, man.
Oh, we are? Good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Good.
I know a few other investors that are on here. If you don't mind, please help. It will give him to his number. So please do that. And it's for a great cause. The data is going to be dropping into this community. I'm telling you that because of some other things that we're working on. The insights are going to be dropping into this community. There's things that we're going to be doing, and he's a part of the community. So anything he's learning, obviously we're pulling him in. So we want to give him love, because then we learn, and when we learn, everyone gets better and we all get paid. Hey,
and two quick value adds too. One, any investor that works with me, you get summary findings of all of my data of the entire project. And my third study you'd be super interested in, because I look at how your decision maker as an investor relates to different investment decisions and how that impacts. So again, I don't want to get that because you only got a few more minutes. So one, you get that before everyone else gets it. And then secondly, I've had investors say, oh my God, I make decisions way too rationally. I have to bring in my own personality there. And that's what I want to tell to the entrepreneurs. Don't look at investors as a dang checkbook. They are human beings. And I know Jake talked about that earlier. They are human beings that think and act and breathe and live. Like, man, they're not a stone, and they're not miserable people either.
That is
And
true. They
it's
are
like
human.
it's like dating in a way. If you think about pitching investors like dating, like if you're terrible at dating in real life, like having relationships in real life, you're not going to be very good at dating with investors, is my general opinion. And if you ask investors their opinion instead of for their money, they will give you their money. But if you ask them for their money, they're going to give you their opinion. So, and part of that is because, I'm sorry, Eric, to jump in right now.
You're good. Go for
But
it.
really, Jonathan got my brain going there. But the reality is that, if we can't contribute more to the venture than just the money, then you're already losing 80% of the investors easily, maybe even as high as 95%.
Yep.
So if you come at us all cocky, you know best. You're never going to take advice from us. You know best. You're never going to find hardly any investors, because how many people are going to go into a marriage with somebody who that's their attitude in life? You're dealing with humans. So, we want to, as investors, have a relationship with who we're giving our money to. We want to like those people. We want to know that if we give them mentorship or advice, that they're actually listening. If their reaction is, oh, you don't understand, I'm smarter than you, I know better than you, you're most likely not going to find an investor that matches up with you that's going to want to back you because of this issue, not because of the money. And those that pitch us and say, oh, this is the thing that's going to make the most money ever, and you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out if you don't, invest. That's not the way to go about this either. So,
Agreed.
anyways, I'm sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Spitting knowledge from experience, and it is a relationship. And I can't stress it enough. It is a relationship where, I don't even want to go, like, I don't have to regurgitate what Mark said. If you don't want someone just for their money. And as an investor, especially if you're getting equity, if you're doing anything around equity, that's debt. The investor is going to want to control the ship to ensure they get a return on their investment. And even non-dilutive, some of that comes with its own level of strings, which is one reason why I say most of us actually are probably better off getting traction and just going to market without getting any debt at all. But if you do, know that relationship is there. And again, be smart on who you go into business with, whether it be a co-founder or a partner or an executive you hire on your team or an investor. They are now part of the equation. And if you don't have a good relationship with that can take you in a direction, or it can cause issues. A lot of times things break up and things don't make it successful because of the team and funding or customers. So it's one of the three. Usually one of those three things impact, because it's not a solo thing. Yeah, you might have a solo founder, but you got to have a team, a good team. I've never seen a company of one. Well, there's a lot of people on YouTube that say they're making $1 million and it's one solo founder, whatever. But a real business, something that's scalable, is something that has to happen with a team. And when you work together, you make yourself coachable, make yourself presentable. You want to have someone that's on the same page, that doing that is at the same time. It is a relationship. And if you think about it from that perspective, working on yourself and then looking for someone else that's willing to actually work with you, someone that's a know-it-all, that goes up but so far before you actually start to realize this is not a great relationship. So, do your due diligence beforehand. There's a couple people with questions. If you can make it really quick, I know we're right at time. Timothy, I know you had your question really quick, so go for it.
Hey, so I just wanted to talk about my background. That's okay.
You got a question? Because we can do that in the community. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if I don't have a question, you can go to the next person then.
Gregory.
Hey,
Argyle.
thanks
Okay.
for your volunteering and doing all this. Can I give you my pitch real quick or no?
We're right at time. I was just wondering if anyone had questions. So the conversation can continue in the community. If you're not a part of the community, please go join the community. And ask the questions. We can actually do this. We're looking to do some other things for sure, but definitely go be part of the community, and we will actually spin up more. John, you got a question?
I'd like to say as a founder that I really appreciate the idea of pointed responses in the Q&A. A lot of what I've learned from investors has been doing pitches with people and having them tell me, oh, I think you're full of crap and you don't know this, that, the other. And so I went out and I did the research to be able to say, Honda sells 35,000 motorcycles a day. Honda sells 35,000 motorcycles a day. Harley sells 168,000 a year. You've got to know that knowledge, and you don't get the push to go get that knowledge without somebody calling you on what they think is BS and is true, but you don't have the data.
Yeah.
So I'd like to put that forward and say, you know what, this Q&A and some of the harder ball responses instead of just soft give me more type of responses is really beneficial as a founder. And I appreciated that toward me from some people tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely. And what he says is really true there. When you you have to go out and you don't have to know everything. And it's okay also to be like, you know what? Haven't researched that yet. And be real and be honest about it. People know when you're calling BS, especially if they know the space. But when you do know the information, also don't be like, oh, it's this. And they come back with a question. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. Still got to be humble in how you present the data, present the information. I had a founder grill me, or not a founder, an investor grill me on something of a space that I'm working with. There was somebody here who mentioned something about overdose prevention, et cetera. Brother Wolf doing things with drug and overdoses. He was trying to grill me. If you're calm and collected because you know the information, process, you breathe, you take a moment, you respond, it shows that you're confident. You don't have to be overconfident. Even if someone is questioning you or saying something you know is completely wrong, sometimes you don't even have to correct the person. They weren't going to give you money in the first place. Don't entertain it. Just keep moving forward. I see Bruce, you got something?
That's crazy.
Yeah. If I could close it out with just a huge round of applause on mute or whatever it is for Mark and the platform and everything you do, Eric. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. Sorry for the neighbors doing construction, but this is an amazing forum. I joined 12 weeks ago as just kind of somebody that wanted to see different business ideas, and maybe there were opportunities for acquisition in some of the businesses I support and I'm on the board for. And then, I said, well, why don't I pitch? And coming up with a 2-minute pitch was crazy. I appreciate the opportunity, the platform. It made me get sharp and refine and do what I have never done. I've helped businesses grow scale, and I've never pitched. So thank you both.
But you pitch very well, Bruce. You really pitch very well. Yeah.
I just want to add a couple of my things here, Eric, before you close us down.
Yep.
One is, at some point, I would like Eric to actually run an entire evening. I think that it would be a breath of fresh air to have Eric as our moderator. I'm looking forward to handing him, that role at some point in the near future. To all of you, the fastest way to get your company successful is with team. If you're at this event, it's usually because you don't have the right team. From an investor perspective, the right teams just fly. They find their money. The money comes to them because there's somebody on the team that knows the right person. If you don't have that person on your team who knows the right people, and your only option is pitching total strangers for investment, you don't necessarily have the right team. You can still raise money by pitching total strangers, but then a lot of intangibles come in. They have to like you. I've never written a check for for a founder that I didn't personally like. It didn't matter what their business was, how much money I would make. I need to like them. So, then all of a sudden you're in that category, and there's a bunch of other intangibles that are more difficult. My biggest suggestion that I give to everybody is work on your team, not just on your investors. Find people who know the right people. There's people who literally with one phone call can solve all investment problems if they were on your side, part of your team. So keep an eye on the team as well. I'm hoping that the community is going to actually create those opportunities for introductions, warm introductions, as much as possible. I'm going to step back and say thank you, Eric, for taking the lead on this. I also just wanted to point out Jake and Sarah. I've been listening to their comments in the previous couple of weeks, and they are both brilliant. If you really want to hear some outstanding advice, go back to the last couple of shows that Eric put on and listen to what Jake and Sarah said. I'm actually interested in taking little clips of their wisdom and putting those out to the entire community, because I was so blown away with the way they presented very key, important information. I just want to thank them both for their contributions. Anyways, good night, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Mark. So we are definitely planning to do that. All right, Michael, I'm gonna get you, and then Code Concierge, you go for it, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So Michael Lutberg, go for it. And I hope I didn't butcher your name. I probably did. Though.
It's German. I know it's hard. It is Lubke.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, I also really love the community, modeling some aspects of communities I'm building after it. And I specifically focus on the gaming space, and also kind of how gaming kind of intertwines with everything for the millennial and Gen Z generations. And I am currently looking for sponsorships and collabs in the gaming community that I support, but I am also active in the Venture Starters Network. So if anyone wants to talk about gaming stuff, whether it be AR, VR, and I know like there's been some pitches tonight about like blockchain and gaming and stuff like that as well. Please talk to me. I want to get to know more people that are in the network in these spaces.
We will be doing some stuff around gaming, so look for that, Code Concierge, and then we're going to wrap this up. And I will be pushing out some updates in the community, things that they're about to like legit happen. So breakout rooms, some other sessions. We may be doing some like where we'll have one event, but you can go and choose your industry or sector. There's some things we're looking at that. We also will be bringing, I will say this, there's a Shark Tankish kind of thing about to happen. So, and there will be money and checks involved. I will commit to that because I know it's happening, because I'm going to be writing a few myself. So those things are coming. I can't tell you how much, but that will be happening. But Code Concierge, I told you, I said you would go, so go for it.
Hello, everyone. My name is DT, and I am presenting the Code Concierge. Now, I actually am not going to be doing a full pitch today. We're still working on our product. We're going to be showing you that when it comes. But I actually was wanting to comment to say that I actually really, really appreciate everything that is being done here. It is phenomenal. You're making startups basically ABC 1, 2, 3 for everyone, and that is something I really appreciate. I actually wanted to speak because I actually saw an opportunity tonight that I feel like no one really saw. I saw with a bunch of people that were very much going for an AI powered this and AI powered that. And I feel like one of the biggest problems that a lot of them are having is that their product is not quite good enough to get the money that they're looking for. So I have a proposal to a couple. I've actually been reaching out. I've been kind of working myself this whole meeting. I've been reaching out to a select amount of people. I have a proposal that we can actually make a pretty good product if you're actually would combine some of your stuff together and actually make it really good. I actually want to talk to some people about that if you're interested after this. That's my
Absolutely.
pitch. That's it. Thank you so much.
Cool, appreciate it. So let's wrap this up, and I'll wrap on that note because it actually gives me a good tee in. First of all, thank you all for the ones that stayed through the end. Do appreciate it. I will say because of our numbers, we've actually maintained a good ratio with kind of this after party, kind of I think I'm gonna call it the I forgot the name of the other one. But it is I'll figure the name out anyways. Well, if you have names or you have thoughts about what this should be called, please pitch it in because it's not an after party anymore. Hangout, that's what it was. I think Hangout is actually better. I actually used to run a Hangout channel. So I think that actually will be the thing. Come hang out with me and other people as we just talk about being a founder, raising money, raising capital, scaling, growing, and actually impacting our communities. But I want to say thank you all for this so much from the bottom of my heart for just giving an opportunity to actually work with you, to provide a platform for you, and then also just be in there, just interacting and learning and growing together. Stay tuned. If you know anyone else that's trying to do a business, whatever, bring them to the community. Can't do it by yourself. Bring other people. We all learn and grow together. And don't be selfish with your information and knowledge. The more you share and grow, the more you never know, you might connect someone to someone else to help them out, and they turn around and do the same for you. It's the way the universe works. So with that being said, thank you all again. I'll wrap it up. Till the next time, be good, be blessed, and I will catch up with you all on the next one. But check out the community. See you all.
Eric. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks,
Thank
Jake.
you.
Nice to speak to you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you guys soon.